leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her era lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gon' stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
party.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't done so, do us a favor, drops a GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it, warms up the algo, and does us a real solid. You'll also find up there a link to the abstract chat in the YouTube chat, and I'm working on an update right now. I had to make sure I'm spelling grievances correctly. Grievances, I believe is accurate. It's telling me it might be spelled incorrectly, but we're going to roll with it. We missed yesterday. Big fumble on my part. Dropped the ball. Wasn't thinking. We missed Festivus. So for anyone who needs to air some grievances, bring them. We've got, 56 minutes. If you want to air your grievances, you've got some time today. So they've got to be crypto or NFT related grievances, however. So feel free to drop them in the chat. Stage is open if you'd like to join us up here and air your grievances on a recorded space. You have to tag or single out the founders and teams that you're airing these grievances to, however, so hopefully they can hear you and do something with us. GM to all the GMers, Zane, number 1 over on YouTube, going for Solomon and Von Frutten's crown. I'm guessing, yes, as always, Teacher Katie. Teacher Katie is the Mel of Abstract Chat. Mel first in the X chat, Teacher Katie over there in Abstract Streets. And we've got a full day today. We've got some exciting stuff. I can spend the next, let me check my fancy docket here. I can spend the next 60 seconds talking about Brock Purdy, but I'm not going to do that. If you're here for my Brock Purdy takes, you should join the war room. He is elite. That's all I will say on that topic. But we did miss Festivus. So again, if anyone has any grievances you would like to air, let us know this morning. You've got we're still in the what do you call it? The like buffer zone from the actual Festivus, which is December 23rd, and not necessarily a grievance. I had this pinned up top yesterday, but we got just deep in DAO talk yesterday and did not have a chance to talk this real Ricky D post, and I just thought it was good. It was kind of a high note, the opposite of grievances, really. But probably will those of you that have grievances and need to air them today, this maybe will make you feel a little better, or put some things in perspective, and maybe this time next year you won't have the grievances because you'll follow real Ricky D's advice. Real Ricky D, if you've never heard the name, I came across him in the DFS streets. I'm not sure the full background. I know him from DFS. I know he's a poker player, successful DFS player, apparently successful in poker and crypto as well. I'd not seen him in the DFS streets for a while, and he sent out a post the 22nd, so 2 days ago, that explained why we hadn't seen him in a while. As always, I'm Cap, co-hostless today. Actually, we will have a special guest joining us around 9 o'clock. And as always, never need financial advice this year. Crypto's risky, NFTs risky, meme coins exceptionally risky. It all go to zero to stones. Please don't put any money you can't afford to lose. Now, that I hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time. Not a financial advisor, certainly not your financial advisor. Please don't me for that. Just join us for some fun, some information, maybe a little bit of education along the way. And yes, Merry Christmas Eve to all those who celebrate. So whether you're here to air your grievances and celebrate Festivus, whether you're here to celebrate Christmas Eve or any other holidays, hope everyone is enjoying some time with the families today. I have not necessarily a heart out, but I've got a special pickup. I don't need to make sure I see Joey out there. Joey's not with us yet, so I may have to repeat this later, but I have a heading after post show, heading to pick up the pound de jamon today. So excited for that. Priorities. And real quick, this real Ricky D post, and then we will get into all things. Have a few headline topics to get into, trending news of the day. And then, as I mentioned, we've got a special guest coming on here at 9. Excited about that. You might have noticed the PFP change for the day. These two things are connected, so you won't have to go too far to guess our special guest. Also tweeted out a little bit ago. Excited for that. I see Poppy out there already. GM, sir, looking forward to diving deep here in about an hour, 50 minutes rather. So, real Ricky D, let me pull this up and I'll just talk through it, and then we'll get into news of the day. Ricky says, I've gambled for a living most of my adult life. Poker, DFS, crypto. I won millions. 2 years ago, I abruptly quit in search of something I didn't yet know I was looking for. Giving up millions in expected value turned out to be the best decision I ever made. And this is for those of you not watching the video. There's 4 pictures with this post, like skiing, looks like skiing or snowboarding, mountain bike riding, surfing, and hiking. Looks like somewhere in the Southern Hemisphere, if I were to guess. He goes on to say, the truth was hard to admit. I was playing a faceless, unhealthy game where the entire goal was to extract money from lesser skilled players, adding nothing real to the world. No matter how much I won, it never translated into meaning. Eventually, that disconnect caught up with me. I hit a point where money stopped working as a reward system entirely. I wasn't unhappy in a dramatic way, just empty. So I did something unfamiliar. I slowed down, started therapy to understand why. What became obvious over time was I was missing actual connection to people, to community, to purpose, to my own body. I had optimized for EV and completely ignored everything else. So I quit gambling altogether. No hedge, no side action. Made a deliberate decision to get healthier and more connected, even if it meant giving up a massive financial edge. I started volunteering. I got healthy. I traveled. I began coaching. I played sports. I did theater. Most importantly, I got offline. Something unexpected happened. I started enjoying existing again, talking to people, being outside, getting new ideas, meeting people from completely different walks of life. Life felt wider. I won't pretend it was easy. Giving up a high confidence income stream messes with your head. Watching former gambling peers continue to print money made it even harder to rationalize at time, but I stuck with the plan. Now in 2026, I'm taking another leap, starting a health healthy lifestyle and food service business. It's a big upfront investment, real risk, no guaranteed edge, just something I believe in. What amazed me most is how starting this business has unlocked everything I've built by getting out in the world. Advice, introductions, partnerships, support. Because of the connection I made over the past few years, I've been able to assemble a real dream team, highly motivated, skilled, intelligent people who genuinely care about what we're building. That would have never happened in isolation. Every conversation, every community effort, every time I choose connection over comfort, quietly compounded. The business exists largely because I chose to meet people instead of screens. One thing I've learned: when you have an edge and a comfortable income, it's easy to stay put, even if you're quietly unhappy. The uncertain path is almost impossible to justify on paper. But once you start walking towards that, or towards what actually compels you, something strange happens. Your true destiny begins to materialize. You meet the right people, ideas crystallize, your perspective shifts. You stop living a life that's just a means to ends, and you start living one that actually fits who you are. If any of this resonates with you, trust the process of reinventing yourself. It's worth it. Just thought it was a great post by Real Ricky D, someone who did what few here have been able to successfully do. Most won't admit this. I could easily admit I'm an addict. I'm addicted to many things. I have a very addictive personality, and there's a reason I don't drink anymore. I wasn't some raging alcoholic, but it was easy for me to become addicted to the daily nightcap, the business drink dinners, I'm addicted to dopamine. I'm addicted to games of skill, gambling. I'm self-aware enough, and I've also done this similar work on myself. I was also addicted to building businesses. I haven't built a business, and I mean, last one I started, well, I founded it in. Well, I shouldn't say this. Last venture that I started, and I took on any sort of outside investment and actually scaled a real enterprise, employed other people. I founded that business in 2012 and exited. Merged in 2017, and then full exit in 2024. After going and working for the corporate evil empire for a few years. The reason I haven't started another all-in venture like that, and if you've been here, you've heard me talk about it a few times, is I know the mode I get into, and while this may seem odd coming from someone who has shifted from doing what Ricky is doing now to spending more time online, more time on behind screens, I have a lot of what he was searching for in the real world I've actually found here, in terms of the community, the relationships, the doors that have opened. Basically, I could have copy pasted Ricky's post and talk about what the crypto community has brought me, what this world has brought me in the last 5 years. But I can relate wholeheartedly, as I was building, first a wireless business, then a phone repair franchise, to ultimately to not be in the rat race, to get out of the corporate America farce that. And again, it's for some people, it wasn't for me. And I went into business for myself so that if my daughter had a play at 2:00 on a Tuesday afternoon, I was there, which I was until I wasn't. And I got addicted to building businesses and scaling businesses and growing at breakneck speeds. And it was fun, but it also, I will be honest, I don't get envious or jealous. I'm actually happy for any of my friends crushing life and they have big wins. It excites me, truly does. If I have any sort of envious bones in me, it's my friends that have younger children. It's people like Von Frunten and Steve and many others out there that have kids that are in their early teens or even younger. Poppy's got a toddler. I'm jealous of that. I wish I could run back that part of my life. And I'm not going to get emotional talking about it. At least I'm not going to attempt not to get emotional. But I was there during my kids' childhoods, but I wasn't always present because I was addicted to scaling businesses. And there was times, I think I probably shared on here before, I was on the road once for a 17-day stretch and missed both my daughter's birthdays, missed both their respective graduations. It was elementary school and middle school, I think, at the time. But my point being is I got hooked into something that was a dopamine rush for me. And I forgot why I was doing it. I forgot my why. And they were always still there. It was always, why I was doing that has went back to support their lives, their education, and make sure that they should never have to worry about money. But I can't ever get back those years. And as my youngest heads off to college next year, I don't have regrets per se, but I am, again, envious of those who still have that time with their kids, whether you've got 5 years left or 15 years or 16 years left. It does, not to be cheesy, but it does fly. Time compounds, I feel, exponentially every single year when you have kids. And so shout out to Ricky D for having that realization a couple years ago, checking out and focusing on himself, his life, and finding real purpose, real meaning. And most don't do that. Most here, there's people that have ran up 6, 7, 10 figure, maybe even some 9-figure accounts and are still in this casino. And they don't need to be. Like you could debate, like, is 2 million enough to retire on? I would say no. Is 10 million, 20 million? It depends on what your lifestyle is and what you want. But I would say most hit their number and they don't leave the casino. It's hard. In fact, I think some get more of a rush by, trying to think of a better term. I'm just going to say the phrase, like putting their nuts on the table. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of anything else. It was just, I had to get it out because I was struggling to come up with a more proper phrase, as we're going to talk like a kid-friendly show here in about 45 minutes. I think some people enjoy that. I think for some, it's the dopamine of being all in, of being in those high-risk environments. And again, though, the whole meaning, the whole reason is so you can get to the point where you're able to just enjoy life like real key. I had another conversation. I'm not going to out them because it's not my place to share their story. I had a great conversation with someone in this space who has done well, had a big come up as a creator, and is creating on their terms. In the past, they were flying around a lot of in-person events, and they were doing a lot of production work on site and traveling every weekend. They've got a family and got kids, and we just had a conversation this week. And he said, this year, I just started saying no. I don't need to do that stuff anymore. I don't really enjoy it. And the whole reason I was doing it was so I could be here with my family and flip the script to where still working in the space, still helping others, but doing it on his terms, not other people's terms. And it sounds easy when you say it. It sounds easy when you hear it. At least speaking by myself, it's not easy. I have been very fortunate to have made, whether building businesses, trading NFTs, there's been not one, not two, but 3 times in my life where I have made 7 figures and then lost 7 figures. Fortunately, most of those times it's been a little more to the positive than what the net loss was. But there was 3 distinct times. I'm not saying like I could have been done, but in all different outcomes. Some rushing to an exit because I was impatient and wanted to do the next thing. Others was simply just round tripping NFTs. But my point being, there's multiple times where I can relate to Ricky's story where I was up big. And I'm not saying I have round trip games again in two of the businesses I exited, but I've shared here, like one of those businesses, I ended up merging with a competitor, sold my own stores, took a leadership role, helped them exit with my initial investor. And it was, a nice 8-figure exit for the family office. I got a very small percentage of that. I was, just how things work. I had 20 stores at the time. 5 of them were mine. The rest were franchised. And I had a big investor that was a strategic partner, brought them into the mix. But the company I merged with had, 250 franchise stores at the time. We helped them grow to over 500. And I got rewarded for my efforts. And over the course of my time there, it was, I did very well. But it wasn't my competitor. There was 2 of us that scaled national footprints, and my competitors had not 8, but a 9-figure exit. That's just one example of, not that I round tripped it, not that I necessarily left those gains on the table, but it was a win that, if I'm comparing to others, looks like a big L. And it was, I think, more so than the financial gain, which wasn't as big as others. It was that grind led to a divorce. It led to a couple years, 18 months maybe, where I didn't get to see my kids as often as I would like. And it was likely a direct result of being addicted to building a business. And I'm self-aware of that now. I did a lot of work on myself 7, 8 years ago. I'm be forever grateful for that. But it wasn't easy. And I still have the same tendencies. I still am easily addicted to dopamine and the rush. And when I say I want to feel something, it's not a bit, it's not a meme. Like I did the Bitcoin short the other day to feel something. I enjoy it. I just now know there's limits to what you enjoy, or you should have some sort of parameters around it. And the biggest thing I don't do in my life anymore is I shut up the clock. Like I work for myself, but I work for myself more like the 40-hour week work week that I never enjoyed before. Like when for 20 years of my life, it's not an exaggeration when like a 60-hour work week would be a light week for me. Most weeks it was 7 days a week. Occasionally I'd take a day off, but even then I was never fully present. I was always looking at numbers. I was always looking at the business. I was wired to, I just would be all in for my time, for my mental focus. And while some would tell you, yeah, if you're Elon Musk and you're building multiple publicly traded companies or billion-dollar enterprises, that's the life you choose. Most entrepreneurs don't have to choose that life. And that's the shift I made is, good luck trying to get a hold of me at 6 o'clock at night. Perfect example. Poppy had a space. He had a town hall last night. He said, hey, June, if you can. I listened to some of it, but I had plans and I was busy and I chose to not change my plans to hang out on a space. I tuned in, I supported it, but I wasn't present for that the whole time because I had other things going on. If you've ever texted me at 7 o'clock at night, especially after 8 o'clock at night, my phone goes into do not disturb. You won't get a response from me unless you catch me on some weird night where I just happen to check my phone until probably 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock the next morning. I don't care if that costs me business anymore. I used to think like every email, every text, everything had to be responded to instantly. And when I made this shift in 2018, 2017, I reprioritized my focus. I'm still wired the same way. I just put guardrails around myself because I'm self-aware. I know that I'm like, I don't want to say I'm like a recovering addict. I don't want to say I'm a recovering alcoholic. I don't even really consider myself an alcoholic, but I'm an addict. And so it's not even recovered. I just am. I embrace the life. I enjoy it. I like the dopamine. I just am at least self-aware enough to know that I put these guardrails on myself, and I'm no different than anyone here. Other than I'm older than some of you, most of you. I just have the gift, the experience of, and the benefit of time, and many, lost 7 figures on multiple occasions that taught me valuable lessons about money come, money go, or as better put, mo money, mo problems, as my friend Biggie would say. I see we got some hands. Von Front and GM, sir. Take whichever direction you'd like. Always a pleasure.
Hey, GM. I will not be airing any grievances this morning. No, since you invoked spending time with kids and prioritizing important things in life and things like that, it got me feeling a certain way. So I thought I'd come and give my perspective for maybe a minute or so here. But no, so what you said remind me there's a contrast that I had in my life, and so to the extent this helps other people think through things or whatever. So I think, as some people may know, right, a year and a half ago, I quit my corporate job that I had had for 20 years to pursue kind of entrepreneurship and just kind of like a basically different lifestyle. Like I was in a horrible place, like mentally, physical health was crap. A lot of the same things I think that were in the post. And the thought process I had leading into that wasn't about, now it's my time to go make more money, right? Now it's my time to go do whatever. Like it was not a financial driven one. Right? It was very much a like, I was realizing, right, like my oldest son's 15. He's got like 3.5 years before he moves out and goes to college. Like I was like, time's short. A lot of similar things you said. Like I feel like I'm not maximizing my time to things that I'm choosing to put, that I know that in my mind I hold like the most important, which is my family. And I was not lining up how I was spending my time to how I was mentally prioritizing things. That was kind of like the shift. And the main thing that goes into it, and I'd say this for anybody, any parent out there, is like to remember, like, your kids didn't choose to be here, right? at some point in time, you likely made a choice to say, "Hey, we're going to go and have kids." And so, because you made that choice, assuming you did, I take that as like a huge responsibility of what I need to do and what I need to be them as a father and as a parent. So that was something that really it was a switch that kind of turned where I finally I hit the tipping point and I was like, I'm not living up to the thing that I kind of believe, right? And they only get one childhood, and I'm responsible for that. So I want to make sure that their childhood is a childhood that they look back fondly of, and not something that they are looking back and they're trying to escape the rest of their life. I contrast that with a story of there was an executive in my corporate world that I used to work with. I remember sitting in a meeting with him, and it was like a big conference meeting, whatever, 15, 20 people in there. I'm sitting next to him, and he and I had a pretty good relationship. And I see him there. He's got his iPad on the table, and he is constantly refreshing this web page. He's you kind of you swipe down to kind of hit the refresh. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he shows me, and it's this Charles Schwab account, and he was on the verge of breaking 100 million in that account. It was he was waiting for the stock market to update. His portfolio was about to top 100 million. And I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to be attentive in the meeting, but he and I are having this whole sidebar, right? And he's the highest ranking person in the room, so he can't really have too much of a conversation. I'm like, so what? Are you out? What was this the number you were going for? And he's like, no. He then gets passed over for CEO of the company that I was at, leaves, goes goes to be a CEO of another company, does that for a few years, leaves, and now is running a venture capital firm. He doesn't have a number. And that that mindset, right? And he was somebody great relationship, great leader, great business person, yada yada, right? Professional success all around. But that whole concept of knowing your number and take your chips off the table, I don't think he has one. And it was that stuck with me of saying, dear God, I never want to be in that position where I don't have that number and I'm always kind of chasing the dragon of something that is always out of reach, and it comes at expense of other things that are way more important in my life. So, no, I'm in a very similar boat as you are. That that post kind of hit me. It also is reminded me when I do get into a grind mode, and it's going to happen, right? I mean, you're going to have to go grind at something, or you're going to get really obsessed with something, good, bad, or indifferent. To try to keep the perspective that you make sure you don't get so caught up that you lose sight of the things that are more important.
Yeah, well said. I used to want to be a billionaire, not because of Bruno Mars song. It was just a arbitrary, a big number and a specific wealth target to go for. I have zero desire. I have zero desire to live in a 6,000 square foot home again or fly jets. It's not important to me at all. It's important to other people, or other people think it's important. I have zero desire to do that. I also, and I can't even claim I know what it takes to get there, but I believe unless you get extremely lucky or fall into, some sort of gift, I know I have no interest in living that life at this stage in my life to even make an attempt to get there. My number's nothing remotely close to that. Would it be nice to have unlimited wealth to have true generational wealth? Yeah, sure. But I don't need my name on buildings. I want to, is it the fisherman parable or the old man in this? What's the parable about the fisherman? You know what I'm talking about? Does anyone help me out on this one?
Yeah, I think it's Hemingway, Old Man in the Sea.
Not Hemingway, Old Man in the Sea. There's another.
Or no, is it Moby Dick chasing the white whale?
I mean that's the thing as well. Both those are a thing, but there's a parable about a fisherman, and he talks this. He's living in he's fishing on the water, living in a hut on the beach, and with his family, his kids, and he does has an incredible fishing business. It's just him, no employees. He pays all his bills and lives his dream life. And some VC from the Northeast is out there on vacation and sees him and says, "Oh man, this is incredible! You got a great business here. You could scale this." And and I'm butchering the story, but in 20 years, you could have a fleet of hundreds of fishing boats and a whole enterprise and hundreds of employees, and be making millions of dollars, and then you could retire on the beach and spend all the time with your family. the point being, like, he had that in life already, and some, an outsider, tried to basically create a lot more work and a lot more time away from said family, to where then 20 years, when he's 20 years older, he can enjoy the life he's already living today. This is an actual parable. If anyone knows it, link me in the chat. I'll try to do a Google search.
It's a parable of a Mexican fisherman. I
Okay.
just looked it up on things, and it says right here that it tells the tale of a businessman who meets a content small scale Mexican fisherman and advises him to expand his operation, catch more fish, buy bigger boats, start a cannery, become a corporate giant. Only for the fisherman to ask, and then what? And the businessman replies, then you can retire, fish a little, play with your kids, and enjoy your life, revealing that the fisherman was already living his ideal life.
You got it. Yep. So that is, we're actually are going to talk a little bit about CT. We're going to talk about crypto. Does it become cringe? It doesn't really matter. Like, do something that makes you happy and stop chasing the dragon. Stop chasing other people's goals or ambitions, and you'll probably enjoy a lot more out of life. Money doesn't buy happiness. It does make the world go round. It's hard to be. I haven't yet to see a homeless person skipping down the street just elated that they're broke and they don't know where their next meal is coming from. Being able to support yourself, your family, it is important, but that in itself is not everything, and it's not going to make most people happy. So I think it's, again, end of year, good time to reflect. Shout out to Ricky D for the assist, and worded it better than I could have. And everyone's different. It's not like, some people, that's what they want, and that's fine too. But know that like most things come with trade-offs. Most things come with sacrifices. Thank you. Keep fishing dropped it in the chat. I'll pin it up top for those that haven't heard or haven't read the full parable of the Mexican fisherman. We've got not only the text, but it's in a fancy with a fancy image next to it. So appreciate you dropping that in the chat. Keep fishing. Not surprised. Someone who I have a feeling lives a life similar to the Mexican fisherman. I'm just, my point is, it is more challenging than meets the eye. It's easier to say than do. Most people won't leave the casino when they could, and it's not about round tripping. It's, there are people that will continue to print, will continue to have wins, but the time and stress and, like, what are the exponential gains? What are even the incremental gains you get from the grind? If it is stressful, for some people it's not stressful. Some people, like I said, myself, I'm my brain's broken. I enjoy it. My point is, though, I no longer sacrifice things outside of my life. I enjoy it in kind of time bound blocks, and if I don't get something done today, I don't get something done today. It'll still be there tomorrow. And also a perk of working for yourself. But that said, we got about a half hour left until our special guest. There are a few news items I want to hit on. I do want to talk about crypto not being cool. This was actually my ghostwriter Von Frunton. Actually, might have queued both these up now that I say this. But we're gonna before we talk about crypto not being cool anymore, for some, I'm not gonna call them engagement farmers, but let me hold on that. Before we go there, I do want to talk a little bit about abstract. We're not going to talk about the precipitous drop in floor prices overnight. I don't know what happened. I'm assuming because it's not across the board, but some collections are down like double digits. I'm assuming, like, Pudgies are now starting with a 3. A year ago, they were starting with a 3.0, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I know that was pre-Pingu, but point being is 11, 12% drop overnight is somewhat concerning. Someone else also mentioned in the war room that people realizing that a lot of NFT founders, especially those that have dropped a token, are more aligned with their token than they are the NFTs, because A, the token has more holders in a larger community, and B, the founders, the leaders, and the team have unlocks, and they have a much more of a vested interest in their token performing well than they do on the NFTs. And if their NFTs could go to zero, it doesn't affect most of those founders' lives. The token goes to zero, it could be 7, 8, 9 figures of loss. So that makes sense. This conversation, though, for Big Floppa here, I'll pin this up top in a second. And I'm going to read it out quickly for those watching, not watching the video today. Big Floppa says, what if abstract XP becomes the pass to ICO? Lately, we've seen more and more projects choose a public ICO to distribute their tokens. Luca hinted that ABS XP won't just be an airdrop. What if XP becomes the multiplier for ICO participation? I see a few possible cases. Tier-based discounts via XP. We've seen similar systems before. The more you contributed, the better entry price you got versus everyone else. It can work great, but if the max wallet cap is too large, many users won't be able to fill their allocation and miss out on potential profits. You can fix this by keeping caps relatively small, like 10K, depending on tier. The downside is a smaller raise and potentially less oversubscription, which can reduce hype and marketing push, but it can make the sale more compelling for real community members if it is clearly plus EV for them. 2, limited public access with an XP gateway. Recent sales are often limited access for the general public, prioritizing community members, see Football Fun, and space contributors, like using Ethos-style scoring and Mega ETH, Solstice, or other systems. We could see something similar in Abstract ICO2, access only if you're a valuable contributor to the ecosystem and active community member, i.e. XP use case, or you pass other filters. These mechanics can be combined in different ways, and that's what makes it interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what Luca comes up with, but I'm sure it'll be something unique. What are your thoughts on this? Would you participate if an Abstract ICO happened? And I'm taking this at face value that Luca actually posted this. I didn't see the original post, but screenshot here, it says XP matters, Abstract chain ICO is coming. I kind of, Frosty's happens to be the first comment. It says tier-based discounts via XP. This would be stupid and just creates fixed seller before TGE. I see both points. I hear you. It depends on how it's executed. I think like I did something similar with Mega ETH, and I'm not a seller. I do understand though a lot of people in that abstract ecosystem that have been farming XP, if they're farmers and they're there just for the abstract token, yes, they are almost a guaranteed seller. They're buying at a discount, they're selling, they're flipping for a gain, and they're moving on. It's not that easy. I do think there'll probably be, if I were to guess, I think we probably will see something that's not just an airdrop. It's not just a claim. Maybe XP and Pudgy holders get some claim, and then maybe a discount on an ICO price. Maybe they get it in an early round, to be determined. But I will say this: I think a straight airdrop to XP and or Pudgy holders is destined to not be good. I think a straight traditional ICO also probably likely to number go down. I think it's, you can't just run the same playbooks. A lot of them haven't worked. They're going to have to do something different. And I at least appreciate the thinking here, getting outside the box a little bit. What could they do differently? Tapping into some things that have worked well. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like this, some sort of abstract ICO. And maybe it's not a discounted price. Maybe it is. We were just talking about the Infinex crate openings the other day, where those, in those crates, you got to, anywhere from, I think, 500 to 50,000 tokens you could purchase at a reduced price point. It's new, different mechanic. I don't not like it. And I appreciate teams doing things differently as opposed to trying to run back, the 21-22 playbook, which has presumably played out. Von Frentner, Mac Valley, any thoughts or comments on, I think Von Frentner, that was you posted that one, right? Big Floppa?
Yeah, that was me.
Any do you disagree? Do you agree? Any comments or takes you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat as you. I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent. I probably do agree that, like, if you just do the same thing again, right? Like, it's going to end up looking like the same thing, right? Price goes up for a couple of days, price goes back down. Maybe something happens later if the team executes over time, right? I get the impression, because they've already launched a token in Pengu, that the team running this, the broader Igloo team, has seen that play out. They see what happens. They've learned from it. And I'm going to guess they're going to do something different this time. What that something different is, I don't know. But I think, given it's been a year, given it's been supporting a chain, not a project, you've got to try to take a bigger swing than the typical token drop that, PFP communities and things like that. So, like, is this the right move? I have no idea. I'm not an expert enough in the field to kind of give that judgment, but I think I do appreciate the thought process of, whether it's this or something else different, doing something different on this scale of a TGE, and not just doing the same thing, the same set of plays we've seen with other TGEs in the past.
Yeah, good take. They've got to do something different, and I don't think it's coming anytime soon. I kind of hope not. I don't know what their timeline looks like. I also, beyond how they execute TGE and how they incorporate XP, I kind of hope they do something. I agree with Katie. Katie says not happy with XP on abstract. While I'm trying my best to earn XP, I'm continually disappointed each week. They're still rewarding XP in quote unquote secret or guess what we're rewarding this week. It's so disappointing. A daily user who uses the chain. Yeah, I guess I can understand where they're coming from and why they wanted to not disclose everything. They didn't want people just to farm for XP. I hear most people that are actual active daily users of the chain share a similar sentiment to Katie. I think they would behoove them to change how they're rewarding XP, whether it's they go back to a badge system or they don't have to share everything, but be a little more prescriptive, be a little more, telegraph a little more, give people not just completely in the dark, point them in the right direction would be my suggestion. Let them at least speculate on, I think this is what they want me doing. And then if they do it and they get rewarded well, they're going to do it again versus doing one thing, getting rewarded one week, doing the same thing next week and getting nerfed on your points. I'm not sure that's it. B Epic says it's always been about being at the top of the leaderboard of certain games and or NFT holdings. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who am I to tell them how to run a chain or to build a points program? But I'm just not sure that's it. Week to week it changes. I think that's part of the problem. I understand the logic behind it. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure it's driving the desired result. Someone could check me here and pull up. Teach Katie also says she was first on Blinko this week, so that doesn't seem to be working either. Do you mind sharing how many XP you got, or how much XP you got this past week, Katie? I'm curious. Go ahead, Von Front.
Yeah. So so here's the thing that, and I know, and I've been critical of some of the mechanics over the past year and I was the same thing, right? Like 1 week I'm in, and I never made it big. I think my biggest week was maybe 20 to 30,000. I think that was during the F1 Red Bull thing where you minted the first round they did, and that was super juiced. You got a badge, everything, right? But the constant moving around where, hey, this week it's the badge is what gets it. The next week it's memes. The next week it's liquidity pools, right? Like there's only we all know at this point in time what makes a chain work. You need TVL, you need transactions. And you need users, right? So just say, hey, in general, those things, I don't care if you do it with LPs or memes or NFTs or go play, 100 rounds of Death.Font, whatever, just go participate. And we will continue to reward people that participate, and we will reward them consistently and let the chips fall where they may. Over a year, let's be honest, I don't know many people in this space that have it in them to farm consistently for a year if all they're doing is farming. The farmers will come and go, but I think the real people that are going to stay with you that long are likely going to be the people who found something they truly enjoy doing because there is a product worth using. And so if their whole goal was they want to see if there's stickiness and they have a set of products and a set of dApps that can actually continuously maintain users and volume and transactions, then you've got it. You don't need to keep us guessing. Trust us, nature will take its course. We will get tired of the really, the casino games that just keep me clicking or keep me spending money. I'll take my funds elsewhere. I'll take my time elsewhere if the product's bad. But the constant moving of the goalposts furthers the frustration and maybe makes it so that, I'll be honest, I haven't logged in Abstract in maybe a week or two. It makes me not even then look to discover what could be really, really good products on the chain. So that's where I hope, maybe it's there now. Maybe they've changed their ways. I know they were going to do a lot of changes over the past, Q3 or so. So maybe it's there now, but that was definitely the frustrating part. So hopefully it's moving in that direction where it's just just get on the chain. get on the chain, and we'll reward people on the chain, however we seek to do that, and incentives will be aligned.
Yeah, I think the TLDR there that I take away is the customer, your user is not always right. At some point, you need to listen to your user, and if the people who are there every day are the people you want to retain, and most of them are sharing their frustrations, and many are providing alternative solutions or things they'd like to see. Like, I'm not saying anyone has the right answer that they have to roll out, but I think a change of XP would be good, because I agree. I get on there to stream every day, Monday through Friday, but I haven't done anything else in a while. I'm sure there's things that may be interesting to me, and I've given them credit. Like, I do think they have one of the better portals, if not the best portal in, of any chain. It just feels a little, I don't know the right word for it. Like, they just stopped. Like, or honestly, I'm just keeping it very real. It doesn't feel like it's evolved much at all since launch. It's been live for a year, and I'm not making fun. I'm not taking shots. I'm sure this will be taken out of context. I'm a fan of Luca. I'm a fan of the chain. I'm a fan of the portal. We like streaming over there. It's got us streaming. Like, we may not be on X Video or YouTube at all, if not for Abstract. It was the push we needed. This year, if I like, what changes, what updates did they do? Where did they improve? It's not a bit, not a hyperbole. From my perspective, the biggest change in Abstract this year, the biggest update, and I could give you some critiques on things like, I thought the badge program was good and they killed that. So the biggest positive change would be dark mode. They didn't have dark mode at launch. It took them several months to do it. They now have dark mode, which I'm grateful for, but I don't know as if that's something you're going to even put in your investor deck. Like, I'm gonna move on, because I don't want it to be taken out of context. I'm dunking on them. It feels like it's gotten stale. I guess that's my TLDR. Is it's just, this space is it good or bad? Attention is fleeting, and a good segue into the next topic here. Apparently more fleeting than ever before. So a good reason to maybe make some changes, do some things to bring to re-engage your existing holders, to maybe potentially bring in some new, not holders, users, maybe bring in some new participants. So two quick things. One, before I hit on the other crypto isn't cool anymore topic, I do want to cover this before we shift gears into our special guest of the day. I am excited to dive deep on QuirKids and all the quirky updates. Appreciate Poppy's time today. I know very busy. Also a family man, and holidays are here. But before I hit on that, feeling festive, we do have a holiday badge for everyone here today. It is live now. It'll be live until December 31st. So you've got a week to mint this thing, although it would be great to see a bunch of these claimed today. It's free to claim. It's from our friends over at OpenPage. There's a link pinned up top. You can click through the link and go to the claim page, or you can just go to op.xyz and claim with code CWC Holiday. I don't think it's case sensitive. All lowercase should work. CWC Holiday is the code. If anyone has any issues with that code, let me know. But yeah, CWC Holiday is the code, the link, or just go to op.xyz to claim. And the art, fan of the art here, courtesy of our friend Imlo, who the handle DGens. I'm not sure if Imlo's out there yet this morning. He didn't even know I went live with this. I said we were talking about it like an ideating, and he delivered the artwork and decided this morning around 6 a.m. to go ahead and ship it. So if you were here during Art Basel, you know that Imlo won a regular animal and offered up some of his art. There might be some more goodies. Don't mint this with any expectations, but it's the holidays. There's a chance the anyone that holds these badge might be in line for some goodies over the course of the next week. I'll just say that. But go mint it to collect the art, support Imlo, get another coffee with Captain Badge in your wallet. And you can see here the fancy ape derivative, courtesy of Imlo, which his handle is at Degens, Degens. If you're not already following, we'll give him some more space time when he is when he's in the show here. And shout out to Imlo, shout out to everyone who's already claimed that, and enjoy, have some fun. If you've not yet checked out Open Page, highly recommend it. Building some really cool tools for creators over there. That said, last topic of the day, and I may need, I would like to step away for like 30 seconds after I cover this at a high level. So Von Front, if you're able to hang out, I'd like to kind of put you on the spot again, since you were also the one who not only my copywriter, but also becoming co-producer, pre-show producer, giving us all the content to talk about here on the show. Appreciate the tags. Appreciate you dropping it in the chat. And it is, I'm not sure how I missed it at first, because it did do its rounds on crypto Twitter. This came out yesterday around noon, 11:30, 150,000 views. So you may have already seen it. 504 bookmarks, 1,300 likes. And here's what it has to say. And I had a counter. I sent out the counter this morning. I'll share here briefly. I'll give my take, and then Von Frunton, I would love to hear yours if you don't mind. If you can at least give me 60 seconds of air cover, I'd appreciate it when we get there. So this comes from Luke. Investing Luke is the handle. I think I've pinned this up top. If not, I will grab it and I will pin it up there for yeah, it's not up there yet, but give me a second. I will go, I'll go grab it and put it up top. I do have it pulled up on video for anyone watching the stream here. And for those listening in, whether it's Spaces or the podcast playback, I will do my best to read through this in my Micro Machine Man mode to give you all a good idea of what we're talking about. I see where he's coming from. My take is I think this is actually probably a net positive, but I'll expand on that here in a second. So he says, Luke says, I'm quoting, younger brother came into town for the holidays. We were talking about crypto yesterday, trying to figure out why it's been so weak, even with strong equity markets. He threw me a curveball. Crypto isn't that cool anymore. Blew my mind. The kid is 22. Prediction markets are better, and stock too, because they don't get rugged 24/7. I'll read that again. Prediction markets are better, and stocks too, because they don't get rugged 24/7. I could give you dozens of stocks that are down 90 to 97% in the last, since 2021. There's a lot of what many would consider maybe not blue chip stocks, but like the stocks of the cycle, the stocks coming out of pandemic that are down bad. Some could recover, some may never. Bitcoin's never got rugged. Ethereum's never got rugged. Solana's not got rugged. It may shut down every once in a while, but that's a quick jab. I'm going back to quoting the rest of the post here, and then I'll comment, and then we'll hand it to Von Frunton. So after he says prediction markets are better in stocks too, because they don't get rugged 24/7, this is my point. Like, this is why I think this may be a really net positive for the space moving forward. He says, I looked much deeper last night, and what I'm observing under the surface is not technical or fundamental. It's cultural, a social shift. Attention has relocated. Starts on YouTube. Views are down across anything related to crypto. I do my best not to speak in absolutes, and I would tell you are there less active participants today on crypto Twitter than there were in the mania? Yeah, absolutely. No one's disputing that. I'm gonna expand on this. He says views are down at anything related to crypto. A crypto YouTuber with 130,000 subscribers said his viewership has dropped more in the last 2 weeks than anything he's seen in 5 years. He screenshots a post here from Tyler Hill. I've been posting on crypto YouTube for 5 years. I've worked with over 300 creators personally in the space and 1,000 through my company. That's hard for me to believe, consider I've been here the last 5 years and I've never heard of Tyler. Now, Tyler does have 139,000 subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations. Who are these creators and what is your company? I'm just curious, because you would think someone that's worked with 300 creators that we'd at least have like a 1 degree of separation. We probably do, just haven't connected the dot yet. It says, I've never seen views drop this fast before in a 15-day period. Retail just gave up at record speeds. So I had to go check it out. Well, what is Tyler talking about? Well, the reason I haven't consumed Tyler's crypto content is because it's this. No offense to Zane or anyone out there that builds YouTubes and understands that, yeah, thumbnails are important and you should do the cheesy cringe thumbnails. I'm pretty sure, like, as I look here, not really all is similar cringe thumbnails. I'm not taking a shot at Tyler. I don't know Tyler. I shouldn't be taking a shot at him. It's just an easy comparison because Tyler said he's never seen views drop more in 5 years than they have in the last 2 weeks. So I looked 2 weeks ago, his post 15 days ago got 7.7 thousand views total. It's been out for 2 weeks. His post yesterday got 7.1 thousand views. His post 5 days ago got 8.6 thousand. A week ago got 7.7 thousand. 9 days ago got 7.7 thousand. 11 days ago 8.1. 2 weeks ago 9.8. 2 weeks ago 10K. So am I crazy here, Von Frunton? Or his views been in the last 15 days range from 7.1 thousand, which was yesterday. Presumably that's going to get a few more, to 10,000. And if we go back 15 days ago, it was 7.7 thousand down to the lowest it's been at 7.1 thousand. Is that not a precipitous decline, or am I not looking at this correctly?
I mean, I don't know what normal chop is, I guess, for YouTubers, like at that scale, right? Like,
I would guess probably similar. Like
yeah,
you're never going to have the identical amount of views each day. It's going to range a little bit, but to say it's never been that, like, this original post isn't. I'm guessing it's an engagement farm on X. It's not really down that much. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it. Further, look at the content. 8 out of 8. 100% of his last posts over the last 2 weeks are doom post. I'm done trading crypto. This is a trap. Shocking data. Crypto needs to find support. This is actually concerning. Crypto just failed. Crypto holders get prevailed. Risky. Maybe it's not that everyone's fleeting crypto and which again, I would dispute the views even being down at all, let alone worse than ever in the last 5 years. But maybe it's the type of content. Maybe most people don't want to read or watch doom videos that's related to financial results. I understand that, like, you might get a lot of engagement on X for, NFT loss porn, or, I round trip this meme coin bag that was 7 figures. Now it's 5K. I get that's a great tactic to engagement farm on Twitter. I'm not sure people, oh my God, I can't go wait to watch this 12-minute video about crypto being a trap from a crypto content creator. I can't wait to go watch this 9-minute video about this guy telling me he's done trading crypto, or this 7-minute. Again, I'm not taking shots at Tyler. This is just, it was referenced in the original post. I went and checked it out. I'm like, well, not one of these videos is something I watch. It's not content I consume. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe part of the issue with active participants on crypto Twitter and YouTube Twitter, or YouTube crypto, is that a lot of the content creators have shifted to crypto's a scam, crypto's dumping, crypto's over, crypto isn't cool anymore. Maybe I'm just old, Von Frunton. Like, none of that inspires me to go want to check out their content. None of that's like, oh, if I wasn't here, I can't wait to go check out this new industry. It's all doom and gloom. It's over. The people who've been creating content for 5 years saying it's over. I shouldn't, like, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah. Well, Cap, you're not old, and I say that because if you're old, that makes me old. So I'm going to say that you're not old. I think so 2 things, right? Let's talk about the specific creator and the content,
and also while you're adding to that, the other people they reference here is Orangey, a meme coin who made it big trading shit coins and made it bigger by having I don't have anything against Orangey. I'm just, from my perspective, this is factual information. He did well trading meme coins, and then he created a paid group of a bunch of unassuming, presumably Zoomers, kids in their 18 to 22-year-old range, that thought crypto was cool, and they paid, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of dollars to go join these paid meme coin trading groups, and then they all lost their bags. They all got. I'm not saying that Orangey and his crew dumped on retail, but people like Orangey built a big business on paid Discord groups, encouraging those people to buy meme coins that a lot of them went to zero. We're going to quote Orangey, and then we're going to quote, I like Kook. I'm actually a fan. I know this is a contrarian take, but he says, I have no interest in trading crypto anymore. Equities and equity options are much more interesting. It's like, so that's the thought leaders: Orangey, Kook, and this guy Tyler, who I've never heard of. Crypto's no longer cool because Orangey says so. Orangey's getting out of shilling his paid Discord to trading Robinhood stocks. Go ahead, Vaughn. And I'm going to hand you the mic if you wrap up, Machiavelli, if you want to get on here, and then when I get back, we'll probably shift.
Yeah, I can go. I feel like Cap's had to either wherever he's going, he's either had to go to the bathroom or get coffee for like 5 minutes now. So we need to let him go. No, so I think there's two things here, right? So first, let's talk about just like content in general, right? Especially like if the content is financially driven. I'm an N of one, but I gotta believe there's other people out there that are like me. Telling me where I can't make money is less appealing content than telling me where I can make money, right? I'm not going to spend 30 seconds, let alone 12 minutes, listening to somebody telling me what doesn't work when there are, thousands and thousands of videos out there telling me what can work, right? I can vibe code my new AI startup, right? Like I subscribed to like Inc. magazine, just got it in the mail because I still do that last night. And, talk about ghostwriting. I feel like I ghostwrited the cover of that one where it's talking about, vibe coding $1 billion startups, right? I'm going to get really interested in looking at that because that's talking to opportunity, not talking about where opportunity maybe used to be, right? Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, the content is telling me it's over. Maybe have one video that says, hey, it's over, and now go pivot to something else. But having a bunch of videos of telling you how it's still over is like you're beating the dead horse. And I don't think there's a lot of people that want to go continue to listen to that. So I think there's a content issue in general just around that. Zooming out, and where I think the post was going, and this actually got me thinking, was around attention economy, right? And we've talked about it at a micro scale around like meme coins, right? Like how do you keep the attention going over the course of days or weeks or months? Well, what if we zoomed out and talked about at a macro level attention for years, right? And I'm going to look back. I don't have all the data because I'm doing this kind of off the cuff since Cat put me on the spot. But look back to this time of year, maybe over the past 5 years, right? It was this time of year. It was actually yesterday. Was my crypto anniversary. So my crypto anniversary aligns with Festivus. I should have gotten on here. Got my first Bitcoin. Our first bought Bitcoin December 23rd. I think I want to say it was like 2014. And then did nothing with it for a very long time and then got back into it like December of 2020. The narrative around December 2020 and the months that followed were crypto, right? It was Bitcoin. It was, ETH going from 500 to 6,000. It was, Bitcoin going from, at the time, whatever, 15, 20,000 to, I think it peaked around 60 before it retraced, right? You had altcoins doing all sorts of fun stuff, right? That was the narrative this time 5 years ago. 4 years ago, it was NFTs, right? Somebody can go back and tell me what Bored Apes were trading for December 2021. It was an all-time high, but it definitely was, a ridiculous kind of silly number, right? And there were a lot of other NFTs that were starting kind of the climb that was 2021, 2022. I'm blanking on kind of what, 23 or 22, 23 were. If any other historians out there, feel free to fill in the blanks for me. But then look at this time last year. It was meme coins, right? It was Chill Guy. It was Fart Coin. It was Unicorn Fart Dust. It was, everybody downloading Phantom and people making TikToks on how to go and, survive the meme coin streets, right? So it feels like every year or so, there's a narrative. There is a new way to make money. And I'd argue the 2025 narrative, you could argue, is prediction markets or gold, silver, and platinum, or something else that is going to attract attention from people, right? It's what's on my timeline. It may not be where institutions are spending their money. You still have Bitcoin ETFs and, JP Morgan looking to build crypto rails and all that kind of stuff. It's not that it's gone away. It's just not the news cycle, right? And there is, I think, some truth to the things that are in the news cycle attracting retail investment, not whale investment, not institutional investment, but retail investment. And I think the point that they're trying to make is like, what has happened in crypto recently that would make the regular person on the street go and download, maybe it's Phantom, or go look at Coinbase, or go do something that is more enticing than going and buying a silver ETF or getting on Kalshi or Polymarket and placing some bets that way. And I think there is probably some truth to that of what is the storyline around crypto relative to the storyline around these other things, and which one, if I'm, again, financially based, decision that I'm trying to make on this one, if I'm looking to where I should spend my attention and spend my money, what is the case for crypto relative to those other areas right now? That's, I think, the point they're trying to make, and I think there is some truth to that.
Oh, I agree, and I just had to take the other side of it because, again, it came across very absolutish, and I think Zonko here in the chat probably sums up what I was attempting to say even a little better, in that quote unquote crypto is boring unquote is true, but what Tyler refers to, that it is a complete product, unlike most other things like AI, which are built on obfuscation, he wants to gamble. He doesn't want to build. Maybe I'm being harsh. I think that for the gamblers, the pure degens who are here just to flip an NFT in 21, 22, the ones that were just here to get into a meme coin early because they're small group. I'm not going to say they were going to pump and dump, but yeah, a lot of those were just pump and dump groups, and they were dumping on unsuspecting retail. Those pains are going to take a little while for those people to ever want to come back and play in the casino. If people are just viewing crypto as a casino and a place to gamble, yeah, I do agree that's not in the news cycle anymore. What's in the news cycle is stablecoin adoption. Yes, prediction markets, and that's where they can gamble now. And maybe that's why cryptos is boring, because it's like Polymarket's on chain, yes, but you could say that prediction markets are more outside of crypto than they even are crypto. They're bigger. Their TAM is not just crypto. It's not crypto natives by any stretch of the imagination. It's a new room in the casino for those that are here. And if you made a lot of money flipping NFTs or dumping meme coins on retail, I could see why you think crypto is boring now. But if you're a builder and you see the future of RWAs and the world getting tokenized and brought on chain, it's never been a more exciting time to be here. Because what's in the news is stuff that's really exciting for the builders long term, like the from regulations to the tech taking major leaps and bounds forward in terms of the ability to make crypto native products that look and feel like a Web2 user interface for the masses. It's awesome. It's just, if all they viewed it as was, how do I make 100x right now in the next month? That's changed. And yeah, there's not a lot of new participants, but I would argue the participants that joined in 2025 are, no offense to all of us that came in 21, but they're more important. BlackRock buying billions of dollars of Bitcoin this year is more important than, anyone who bought NFTs in 2021. Like, we've actually made tremendous strides forward as an industry, and there's going to be something else. I don't know what it is, but will it be like DeFi summer or NFT mania or meme coin mania? I don't know. Probably not. I also don't think this is a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. That I'm not saying they're all grifters, they're not all extractors, they're not all charlatans, but you know what? When this becomes a hyper financialized casino, and an 18-year-old with an internet connection can come in and make 6 figures in a month because they got in early to a mint or a token sub $1 million, that's going to attract a lot of grifters, extractors, and charlatans. When it's boring, it attracts more serious builders, more mature builders. So I think that crypto being boring may not necessarily be the worst thing in the world. And we'll go back to Von Frunton, and I saw Poppy had a hand up. We'll let him comment on this, and then we'll talk about all things QuirKids here. But the last screenshot in this post from Luke is, talking about the legacy brokerages like Schwab, JP Morgan getting involved, government interests. Is crypto losing the demographic that made it popular in the first place? Simon, who runs a fund, says, having been monitoring the market closely and speaking with tons of high-level people recently, both from Web3 VC space and traditional finance, one of the most fascinating dynamics I'm seeing right now is the massive divergence in sentiment. TradFi institutions are more bullish on crypto than ever. For them, it's the hot new thing. Most still don't fully understand it, but they know one thing for sure: they want in, one way or another. According to many of them, there's barely a single serious firm out there that isn't exploring how to enter the space right now. On the other hand, you've got the native side, crypto degens, VCs, founders, exchanges. And what's interesting is that many of them seem to be completely burned out and depressed. Nothing excites them anymore. They're tired, frustrated. A lot of plays they made didn't work out. Some are even throwing in the towel and shifting their focus to building or investing outside of crypto altogether. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. Do I desire to make money here? Is making money here part of what attracted me to the space and brought me here? Yes. But it's not what kept me here. It's not what got me passionate about the space. There's a lot of ways to make money in this world. If it was easy to be on the bleeding edge of tech and finance, like everyone would be printing 100Xs. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be metas that come and go. And again, if you just everything we just described, the people that are leaving versus the people that are coming in, I don't know, man. I think I'd probably rather sit at the table with the people coming in than the ones that are like, again, no offense to Orangey. I'd rather have dinner, and I'm not a big fan of Jamie Dimon, but I'd rather have dinner with Jamie Dimon than I would Orangey. Sorry, Orangey. Von Front, go ahead.
Well, first, if you had told me that the word charlatan was going to be used on this show not once but twice now by the host, I would have called you a liar. But here we are.
Take that from Steve.
No, so I think so. Here's the it's funny, right? So we talked about attention economy, or I did. So I'm going to reference myself here. That's cool, right? So. And I'll tie it back to why I originally came on stage, and then we'll let Poppy ride us out for the rest of the show here. I've got a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 8-year-old. I am seeing trends and memes play out in real time with my kids, right? It starts off like it's cool in high school, and then it starts to be cool in middle school, and high school's kind of over it. And by the time it gets to my 8-year-old, high school, it is cringe. They are so over it. And then the final stop is the parents start doing it, right? It's like any trend. Once the adults start doing it, it is not cool anymore. Guess what happened to crypto? The adults started thinking it was cool. Jamie Dimon is building on base, right? BlackRock is setting up ETFs. The adults think this thing are cool, so of course the kids are not going to think it's cool anymore. This is nature. It happens. And so I think it's, to your point, it's now going to attract a different type of person, right? And I won't even just put scammers in here or degens or gamblers, but look at VCs. VCs don't want 2x. VCs don't want 3x. VCs want 10x. VCs want 100x. They have the same risk reward profile as, gamblers in a casino of what they're looking for. It's the way their business works. So yes, the VCs, the people who are looking for outsized returns, they're on to the next one. To be honest, they're past AI even. They're like, oh, AI, if you're just getting AI now from an investment standpoint, you probably missed the bubble. The ones that are built are going to be built or they're going to be bought, and we're trying to figure out what's the next thing, right? Like they're 3 cycles past crypto at this point. But the big institutions, the ones that make this an industry that will stand decades or centuries the same way they have before, whether it was finance or real estate or whatever, they're the ones that are now starting to pick up. And so that's not going to attract anybody who's looking for a 10x or a 100x or whatever, or the let me go make money in 3 days versus 3 years or 3 decades, right? It's going to attract the people who are looking for a predictable and stable place to build a business and to build products and things like that. And for me, because that's what I do, I'm really excited about it, right? But look, if I'm a 22-year-old and I'm not a builder, I'm not looking to found a company, I don't want to build a product, I just want to go and find where's the next best place to put my money to get outsized return, then yeah, crypto doesn't look as cool anymore compared to these other places where I can put that money. I don't think that's a bad thing for crypto, for the people who have been with the show for 1,059 episodes that focuses a lot on building and sustainability and the long-term success of crypto, I think that is an incredibly good thing. But for people whose attention span are weeks and months, not years, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, good take. I also think that as things change, the skill sets required to be successful here are probably different. And the people who had success pumping and trading meme coins and NFTs might not have an edge when it comes to the next wave in crypto. That's okay. Like, things go in cycles, and I don't think we get another NFT mania. I don't think we get another meme coin mania. They're not all going to zero. They're not dying. But what we lived through in 21, 22, and 24, 25, like, I don't see that ever coming back. And if that makes it not cool, then it's not cool. Dude, I built a phone repair franchise. Do you think I was picking it when I had a dating profile? Do you think it's like, oh, I built a business that fixed people's phones? Like, that's not cool. It's about as nerdy as you can get, turning screwdrivers. Like, it's not everything needs to be cool to make money. I get when it's attention based, and I repeat back to, I don't know if that's a bad thing, that it's not as easy to go make 5, 6, 7 figures because you can control attention. Because usually, if you can move attention like that and make yourself a lot of money on that attention, it's often like, it's back to Ricky D's post. The people you're making money from are the people you're getting that attention from. Often, I know it's not that cut and dry, but it's very PvP, and it's not like, it can go in spurts. But the reason why a lot of those people left and didn't come back, and probably won't come back, is because they saw someone that was flashing, exciting P&Ls, and, oh, I'm up 6 figures, I'm up 7 figures, and they paid hundreds or thousands of dollars to be in a closed group, thinking they could get the same results. And if you think, I'm sure there's some people who just identified me, they were just cultural geniuses, and they knew what was going to be the next daily runner. If you think that none of that was manufactured, or the hype and buzz and the attention was created by a group of people, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the success that a lot of these people sell in these courses or these closed groups is not necessarily how they got where they are. But after they get there, they realize it's a way for them to monetize the success they've had. And I probably should stop talking before I get myself in trouble or someone pissed off at me. But Poppy, GM, sir, pleasure. A lot going on in your world. Probably didn't expect the title to be "Crypto Isn't Cool Anymore" this morning. But anything to add to this conversation? Any takes or thoughts? I have a feeling I kind of guess how you'll net on this, but I am curious, before we jump into QuirKids and all that you're building, just thoughts on the space at large. And is crypto not being cool anymore per the kids? Is that necessarily a bad thing?
Yeah, GM, and yeah, I really enjoyed the convo. It was nice. I was sitting here catching up on a bunch of stuff, and just listening to you. And I love Von Front, such a good guy. I don't know where he went, but I guess he maybe had a role. But yeah, just listening to you guys share some real observation and takes, and then I like how you dissected that. I really like the cold open, and how you dissected that gentleman's post. Can relate to that a lot. There was a lot of things that I felt good about as you were talking on that topic, because for me, I mean, I was just reflecting on so many years of success and things that I thought were important, and then becoming, losing my dad, having some miscarriages, and then becoming a father, and how that has drastically changed everything. The way that I wake up in the morning has changed, and so and everything falls under that. Drinking less. I don't do drugs or any of that, but just you know letting go of material possessions, letting go of I have some nice watches, of course, and nice things, nice house, but like not yearning for that, not waking up in the morning going, I need that dopamine rush. I don't sports gamble anymore. I really, if I go to the casino, I expect to lose. I bring, a little bit of cash, and I'm like, cool. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. I'm not doing things for sport. I do fantasy football, baseball, and I don't even play any tokens really in crypto anymore. So it was just really, it was cool. I could relate to that a lot. And going into the new year, I'm going to try to like really buckle down on the diet, drink a lot less, lose 30, 40 pounds, just like really get back on my A game. So I could be a good role model for everyone that I impact in my life. And, I think we all need to think that way. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. In the crypto topic, it's very interesting. I think you have to understand psychology and personality and, Cap, you'll probably relate to this, but you could just Google it, 4-color personality types, and you can understand that there's some baskets of different types of people. And when you understand this, you don't solve the issues of the world, but you do start to understand why some things stick for some and not for others. And I think in the beginning, when I was introduced to crypto, the decentralization, the no tax. Yes, at one point there was like no tax on crypto. I think early like 2018, when that first bear market really, really began, is when the government's like, oh yeah, you're definitely paying tax on your crypto. Before that, everyone's narrative was no tax. So um, it was the, especially Bitcoin in the early days, it was the anti-government. And so you attract a lot of blue people, you attract a lot of red people, you also attract a lot of, you know, people that are trying to circumvent, regulators, feds, etc. Um, and that has changed dynamically quite a bit. I think this people were begging for this last meme coin market, and I just sat quiet going, I don't want it. Because when something happens and it's not premeditated, pre-planned, or expected, there's some magic. Like the first meme coin run, I did very well because I had been in Doge for such a long time. I bought Doge, you know, for peanuts when nobody, one YouTuber was talking about it, and then it exploded. And I think people expected that same meme coin mania to do it again, and there were some good ones this cycle. Actually, let me take that back. I redact the good word, but there were some powerful meme coins this cycle. The problem is that people were prepared. The devs were there, too many devs, too many people trying to create these tokens, create websites, try to make them look legit so they could lure people in using buzzwords like AI. And there was so much foul play in this recent meme coin mania that the big ones will catch the slack, but it's the smaller ones where people lost, a few soul here, a few soul there, and that slow cut, death by 1,000 cuts, right? And I was in it for a little while, like in a small group. These guys would try to call out CAs, and I would put 2 soul in, 3 soul in, and I lost every time, every single time. And I was like, eventually, I'm like, I think I've lost like 100 soul. This is stupid. What am I doing? And I'm like, that's it, done. I think that we've kind of evacuated a lot of the like super red and super blue. But I think crypto is very cool. I think crypto is super innovative. I just think that crypto is not a place to go and gamble. I don't think crypto is a place to, and obviously you make strategic gambles. So let me say that, but it's not a casino. It's not built for that. And so I think I just echo what Von Frunten said, and that's exactly a great segue into a more important topic, which is the move we made yesterday. Like that is exactly why I did like acquire this brand and then move into what I believe is a long-term, stable, attainable strategy, goal, and vision.
I love it. Excited to dive in more. And also, you referenced Von Front. He did tag me and said to let you know that he had to run. Tell Poppy it wasn't you. He did have to run, and we probably kept him past his 9 o'clock meeting. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about QuirKids. Let's talk about this move. I know this is going to be taken out of context, and someone's going to take it as a shot towards someone else. It's just a real example that's the most current thing on my mind to contrast what you did yesterday. And it wasn't just, I'll flash up here on the screen if you haven't caught it yet. The new PFP for the day here is this honorary QuirKid. I love it. It's, I've gotten 2 honoraries this year that really stood out because of just the art, the work done, and the quality of the honorary. It's the only 2 times I changed my PFP to the Good Vibes Club honorary for a day. This QuirKid, I'll let you highlight the artist, everyone else. I know there's a ton of work that went into this. So I loved it. I love the new art. I'll let you share all the details. When someone asks like new art, my first comment was, yeah, they gifted their holders, their supporters, new art, new IP. There's intent and plans to do things with the new art and the new IP. And they, again, gifted it to their holders and supporters. Didn't ask them to go mint another secondary collection for 1 to 3 Solana. No offense to the 2D Good Vibes clubs out there. They gifted 5,500 hand-drawn art pieces to their existing holders and collectors. And Poppy, I'll let you take it from there, but I think it's a very different approach than we see many NFT native teams take when, okay, we know we need to find product market fit. We know we need to generate revenue to be an ongoing concern to build a sustainable business. And often that path for many is, we'll do another token sale, whether it's NFT, a secondary or third or fourth collection, or another token collection. I appreciate the different approach and the hard work and hustle that's went into getting it to this point. So that said, tell us about QuirKids. And again, I was going to tag the artist. I followed her last night, and big fan of the art. I can't remember the handle though to properly credit this morning. So do you mind starting there, and then whichever direction you want to go with it?
Yeah. Well, look, I'm happy to be here, and when there's some stuff to unpack, so I'll do my greatest, stay on course. But first off, I'm very very grateful to be here. Obviously, this has been for the last couple of years the place where if I have the time in the morning, I like to spend it. So I thought, as we're coming into this post reveal, the first place that I wanted to speak about this was obviously on our space and then here. But I didn't ask to be on the show before because I didn't want to create any crazy hype. That's not what this was about, and that's not really our philosophy. I want to be a magnet for good people in the space. But Quirkies is not really a place to come and flip, So I was very strategic about, okay, when I want to dive deeper and talk to a good audience, so at least they know what we're doing. I don't know if anybody here is going to grab a Quirky or not, but I think we need to start inspiring builders and leaders in this space by our actions, not just by our ideas. The day of the roadmap is kind of in the past, right? I think that teams now that care just worry about executing and attracting the good people that are still here and understand it. And then eventually we'll be able to attract, people from the outside world. And as I'm building, that's something that I'm always thinking about, So I appreciate being here. I just wanted to say that. It's an honor always to just, obviously our friendship is real, and I admire that more than anything. But being able to come here and listen most of the time, but be able to speak today about what we did is a great platform. And an opportunity that I'm excited for. So yeah, the artist, which was really interesting. I'll get to her in a second. So I've been a part of, and I think it's just this backstory a little bit is important. I've been a part of Quirky since basically the second week from the mint. They minted at 0.05 ETH in February of 22. I at the time was pretty new to NFTs. I was not new to crypto. I had just lost about $1 million in a token project that I really believed in, and apparently I was the only person that was like being forefront, and everyone else was selling into my buys while smiling at my face. So it's okay. So it was a tough lesson. But yeah, I shipped about 250 Ethereum that way, and really was committed and trying. And I was okay after that. It was like, all right, we're gonna pivot here because you can't do anything about it. And a buddy of mine got me into NFTs, and I was just exploring. Proof Pass was my first NFT purchase for like 7 ETH. This was far before they ran to 100 ETH and Moonbirds came and all that. But VFriends, World of Women, and then a Mutant. And I was just trading Bored Apes and learning about the ecosystem, and started shipping a lot of my Ripple and other big crypto holdings into NFT. And sorry, my wife called. 1 second. I'm just gonna text her. She's out Christmas shopping, so she's just hit me up for something. But anyway, I had found Quirkies, and I saw one of the guys that I was doing Mutant and Bored Ape trading with on the timeline post these Quirkies, and I'm like, oh, these are cute. And he wrote something like, I think this is the next Doodles, but it's only 5,000 in the collection. And I had actually just purchased a Doodle at the time. I think they were like 8 or 10 ETH, and I went, oh my god. It was strictly supply and demand. I was like, there's only 5,000 Quirkies. There's 10,000 Doodles. The art is very colorful. The line work is really clean. Let me grab a couple. And then I just getting on spaces, meeting people in the community, just getting to know the culture and stuff. I just got deeper and deeper. I would end up sniping 1, sniping 2. And then I started getting aggressive. I would be on these spaces fired up. I'd go sweep. And then somebody challenged me. They were, talking smack, and they traded 24 Quirkies for my Mutant Ape, and they proceeded to, make fun of me and Quirkies in this chat that we were in for about a year. And it just there was a few things that kept putting this like, all right, cool. Now I'm really gonna go harder, and I'm gonna go harder just to prove the point. And we just kept building and showing up every day. And so anyway, the opportunity to acquire the brand came in September of this year finally, and we made the announcement, and I shipped a hoodie punk to do it. And we got to work. And one of the first things that I wanted to do was address the IP, because I think the Quirkies IP is great, and I think the collections are great. But there was a lot of unfinished business. My good friend Dunked Cookie calls it hygiene. And I said, yeah, there's a lot of hygiene that we need to do to this brand, because if you have a messy room and you're single, you're not bringing a girl home, right? It's like the same thing. Like I want to, it's like a funny thing, but like, if you have a messy car, you're going to be embarrassed when you go to pick up your friends. And I just believe that everything starts with a clean mind, a clean slate, a clean table. And so we went in and started to clean up and build the foundation for the first few months, put together an advisory board of really great people who care. And then I had this spark, this idea that really started with me asking this question, like, what age are Quirkies, right? I was like, what age? And I'm like, they're teens and adults. And having a 2-year-old son, we're consuming content constantly, and I'm competitive. I'm like, man, this content's not that good. I can do better than this. Like, that's my mind, right? I'm like, okay, I can do better than this. And so I had a chat with one of my friends, Dr. Luby. He proposed, showed me this business model he wanted to build, social and emotional learning app for kids using like NFT IP. And I said, bro, we got to talk on the phone. I called him and I said, yo, this is great, but you don't need to build new IP for this, bro. Let's use Quirkies IP. It's already great. It's already family friendly. I said, and I've been thinking about doing a kids IP already, but I just, I'm not sure how to do it. And so that's where it began. And shout out to Jed. I hit up Jed and I was like, hey, like, what artist do you think could nail this? And he gave me a few people. He said, yo, I got a few people. He goes, I'll ask them to draw like an infant Quirky and we'll send you over a bunch of ideas and you can just take a look at it. I said, okay, great. Well, 2 days later, I have 3 samples and one like really stood out. And I was like, damn, this one's great. And that was from Molly, who we ended up deciding to go with. Her handle is Rebecca Queen. I actually am now convinced she's one of the best artists in the space because she knocked this out of the park and was so humble and hardworking, and I don't know, got me emotional. I sent her like way more money than we agreed on, and I was just like, I still don't ever, I don't even know if I'll ever feel fully fully in the even with her because she works so hard. And she's in Morocco, and this became her full-time gig for 2 months. It's all that she did, 12 to 14, 16 hours a day, which is really cool because Molly was actually around Quirkies in the very beginning. And so she was like crying on our spaces last night, and all the feedback in the comments, she was awake till like, I don't even think she slept. She was just up commenting, replying. So, shout out to Molly and like her work. I'm really super grateful because it made this experience phenomenal for the space. I think it's a great thing, which we'll get into, but it really made it phenomenal for our for our holders. And a lot of our holders have been around since mint or since 22, 23 and hold huge bags and don't care about the day-to-day BS of the space. So like the best thing I can do for them every morning is wake up and just keep building and deliver and be consistent and communicate and be vulnerable when we're wrong. And so to give them a W like this was very powerful. And it was super well received. So yeah, that's the little bit of the backstory, and the artist Molly absolutely destroyed it. But it was cool. It was a cool process, Cap, because I had to keep it super low key. So I could only put together a small group of like super trusted people who don't go leak information. And we were able to take some of the traits were perfect, right? We didn't have to touch anything. But some of the traits were a little more edgy, like there's a Medusa head trait. And we didn't want to put that in a kid's collection, so we did gummy worms. The beard, kids don't have beards, so we did like a bubble bath, which is my PFP. And along the journey, we ended up, she was putting these like little toys. There was a doctor, there's a doctor trait, and she put this stethoscope toy. And we were like, oh my God, we should get every kid a toy. And then it was like, we should give every kid a companion. And so we ended up doing stuffed animals for every single one. For every single body trait, there is a companion. And a lot of those companion, then we hit like this, oh my God moment where it's like, wait, why don't we put every single quirkling one of one as a companion? So now, even though this activation is not for our quirkling holders, we are still amplifying the quirkling IP. So when people are now shopping for a quirky, you're not just shopping the OG quirky anymore. You're really looking at the toggle of your OG quirky, how it looks as a kid, and how it contrasts or how it meshes with the companion. And so technically you're looking at 3 characters when you're collecting. And that experience in my head was like the most exciting part And I got to give credit where credit's due. We were not sure what to do and how to get this art out at first. And Dunked Cookie has been such a good friend and is literally available. He's like, bro, you can call me whenever. And I really try not to bother him, but I said, yo, I have an idea and I want to run it by you. And for those who don't know Cookie, I'm sure he's been up, he hangs around this space, but him and his team are widely responsible for a lot of the really good stuff that happens. In fact, Wrecked, they're an agency for Wrecked. Ovi and Mando are part of that agency. I mean, it's pretty special. And Cookie is brilliant. And so is the team. And so he goes, bro, he's like, you should do the toggle with this. And I got to give him credit because I was stuck on distribution. I was like, I want to get this out. I want to give the IP to the holders. I don't want it to be a mint, but I don't want it to be an airdrop either because it'll just cause further dilution. We don't need that. We have a few collections. And the toggle was like the instant light bulb moment. Like, oh my God, dude, this is crazy because Quirkies are holding up very stable. There's not a ton of volume coming in, but there's also not a ton of people that are looking to exit the project. There's collectors and, there's a real community. So when people join, they're like, oh my God, this is home. And that's what we've tried to create, a place to call home in Web3. So now when you take a stable product, a stable brand, a stable art, and then you add more art to it, it just makes it more appealing. Yesterday, 5 or 6 new people joined Quirkies that have been on the fence or watching or know about it for a long time. And a few of them didn't have an OG they resonated with or didn't understand the vision of the project or didn't understand where we were going. And I think yesterday, what it ended up doing, because of the way we launched it and all the pieces and the website, QuirKids.com is incredible. All of that coming together, I think it gave people a lot of peace because we didn't do any kind of a raise. So they see that, look, at some point, yeah, we have collectibles we want to launch. Like we have some things we want to do, but we're not a money first. Like, let's go to our community and make money. That's not our goal. Even when we do our apparel, if you spend $100, we give you $15 back every time in a gift card. Like our model is not, let's go make money off our holders. Our model is, let's build a brand. And I think they got clarity, peace. And in this market right now where people are making decisions if they still even want to be around or if they like NFTs enough, it was very refreshing, to not receive negative feedback really from anybody. And most importantly, to get some people from the outside going, oh my God, now I need to be in this. So I'll stop there and throw it back to you, Cap.
Well, I think the one thing I think that jumps out to me, as I mentioned, it's you did choose the toggle. You chose to gift the new art as opposed to selling another collection. I know especially when you're paying an artist, that can be a challenging decision to make. I think in the current climate, the proper decision from my perspective, just one man's opinion, but I, again, appreciate it's hard to view, if you're a holder, a community member, it's hard to view this in any negative light. You've eliminated any of those objections. And not saying that NFT native brands shouldn't sell products, they should. There's a time and place, especially if we're talking additional collections, additional art, etc. And I know we're not here to talk floor prices and number go up or number go down. That's not the most important thing, especially for those that are building with a long-term perspective. But if you want to do comparisons over the last couple of months, especially since 10/10, when most of the NFT marketplace is down really bad, not just NFTs, but majors, sure, but most non-majors, most alts, most NFTs it's been a bloodbath. And there's been highs and lows, but over the past year, Quirkies is one of the best performing NFTs. In fact, I think it's almost maybe has 2x'd in like the last month. Like maybe not exact, but it's been It's been a steady climb up over since 1010, and most can't say that. Most sold off at 1010, and it's been a slow bleed out since. Whereas Quirkies took maybe a small hit on 1010, and then it's climbed up from the 0.25-ish, 0.3s all the way back up to 0.6 this morning. So maybe it did more than a 2x in a short period of time, when there's very, very few NFT collections that can say that. And you said something like, oh, you're not seeing a flood of buys, but you're also not seeing a flood of selling. If we're talking collectibles, like, some people aren't going to like this, but I think this is how NFTs should be traded. It's the anti-blur farming. We shouldn't be incentivizing people to bid on NFTs and then dump those NFTs into bids. That will kill momentum. That will drive floors lower. We've seen that happen. You're attracting true collectors, true community advocates, and you see that by the space last night. You see the reception that the core community has had as a result of this, and I'm sure there was someone who tried to find something wrong with it, because you're very challenging to make everyone happy when you've got thousands of community members. But from everything I saw on the timeline in your space last night, nearly unanimously received well. And I would go as far as like raving fans, like really excited about the new art, the new direction. And it's okay if you only have a few sales. I actually have a data point. I'll get your thoughts on that. And I have another data point that we haven't talked about. I hope you don't mind me sharing, but we didn't mention. Well, go ahead. Any thoughts on that? And then I'll.
Yeah, I do want to, just so we don't lose that part. I think, what's interesting, and I don't have it in front of me, but I think one of the things that is a big factor that didn't make sense to everybody when we did it, but it makes a lot of sense now. And I'm really proud the former team made the decision to do this, was upgradable contract, sunset the original about 3 years ago, and come with 721C that has been so big, because we're able to dictate when we don't want to participate in something. And I think that's really important, because look, somebody said, well, we're not, like, people have said this to me before, nobody's farming Quirkies, and I'm like, that's good. Like, we're not a NFT, from my perspective, that is a farmed NFT. Like, this is not a financialized NFT. Do we want the value to go up? Absolutely. Our holders are very happy, and our philosophy is clearly working for them. And for, I don't like comparing, but when you look at data, and you specifically look at data, it's hard to make the argument against what we've done. And that's block blur for over 2+ years. That's enforced royalties for 2+ years. And look, this activation yesterday was funded by the royalty wallet. You can go look at the royalty wallet.
Dude,
you see every penny that I spend everywhere. It's not going to my pocket, not a single dollar. You'll never see it. And I think that the community bought into that, and then we put the money where the mouth is. And I just want to say this, Cap. Like, I think that from that perspective, the holders have to feel comfortable. And the most painful thing, look, I've collected every quote unquote blue chip NFT. I've sunsetted, I've round tripped multiple 7 figures in this space on brands that I still love. So I'm not going to name them, because it'll sound like I'm targeting them, and I'm not. But I've lost a lot of money on some of those bigger projects. And I feel that if royalties were still a thing, then a lot more would happen, because compensation drives behavior, number one. And number two, when there are no barriers and no gates to a city, you're going to have destruction at some point. Somebody is going to find a vulnerability and try to game any system that involves money. And without royalties, the system can be gamed. Period. There's no other way to say that.
I swear on my daughter's life, Poppy and I did not discuss this. This was not a setup. This is not a bit. The exact place I was going to go is where he just went, and I have the chart pulled up. Before I show it, though, I'd like you all to guess. If you've been listening in, we've already said Quirkies is not a collection that people are farming. It's not like you're not going to see a lot of sales, a lot of buys, a lot of sales, a lot of buys, a lot of sales. What do you think they've earned in royalties in the past month, the past week? If you want to go back further, so it's not just maybe activity around this new activation or the new art. What do you think they've made in royalties over the past month? I think many of you would be surprised. I also, again, not setting this up, just pure coincidence. We had a conversation about this exact topic earlier this week, and I am adamant royalties are a good thing for artists, for creators in this space, and I got some pushback. Ian, who I respect, and I understand his perspective that it's not fair for someone they bought a mutant for 10 ETH and then they go to sell it today for 0.7 ETH and they're paying a royalty on a big loss like that. I understand those frustrations. It's not the collection's fault. It's not the brand's fault that we overcooked the space. The NFT mania was a bubble. It doesn't mean it's over. Just like the .com bubble didn't mean the internet was a fad and went away. It just meant that a lot of assets got hyper financialized, overvaluated, and we needed a healthy pullback. We needed the correction. So I get when people don't want to pay royalties to teams they feel have rugged or haven't delivered on their promises. I understand all that. But the reality is that's not everyone here. And for artists, part of what attracted me to blockchain tech and digital art on chain is the fact that an artist can grow in their career and get paid in perpetuity off their original works. That's powerful. For a team that's building in the space, and I use the example like, yeah, could they extract and bring royalties and put them right in their pocket? They could. It's not even extracting, it's them getting paid as a team, as a founder. They wanted to use royalties for payroll. They have a team that can support and maybe do more stuff, whether we're using like the Yuga example, and there was like easier to see things like Ape Fest being funded in perpetuity if there's royalties there. If there's no royalties there, well, they've got to make money other ways. Like teams can choose what to do with their royalties, and they can choose to align with their community and do value add back to their community, back to those original token holders. In this case, you chose to drive value back to your original token holders by giving them a second piece of art. Now, is that going to send the floor price 2x? Probably not, but that's not the goal of this. Is it going to bring a bunch of new people into your community right overnight? Not overnight, but you've got now something, new IP, new art. There's a plan, which we'll get into that in a second. But again, I think royalties are a net positive. It's part of what created the excitement. It's what brought so many builders to this space. Did it bring some extractors and grifters? It did. But it also brought a lot of good builders to the space. And Quirkies don't have to be your thing. Poppy doesn't have to be your thing. We need more builders like Poppy. We need more people that are building. They're here to create a brand, grow a brand, and remain aligned with their core supporters and help value accrue back to those supporters in one way or another.
And I'll just say this, Cap, too. Sorry, there's an important piece to this that maybe some people don't consider about some kind of royalty, right? Bots.
Yep.
The bots. There have been times when we have, like right now, I think there's one Quirky with a bot. You know where that Quirky is listed number 6 on the floor. There's been there's 2. It's number 1 position and number 6. There's been times where we have, after one of the OpenSea treasure drops, we had like 8 in bots and the floor barely moved. And that is important because holder psychology is key. And I've watched this, and I don't even know if this is an arguable point, because I held my apes from 130 ETH floor down to 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And I love apes, by the way. So it's not fun. I'm just being honest. I held the whole thing, millions of dollars. So this is what really is unfortunate about the bots. If you get, there's 2 or 3 different types of bot styles. One of them just matches the bottom floor price. Some of them undercut, and they undercut fast or slow. So you got 3 types: slow undercut, fast undercut, no undercut. The ones that undercut, they undercut aggressively. And if there's other bots in play, you can simply just from bots see the floor price drop 10% very quickly. And that kills morale. And I remember there was a great holder. His name was Andrew. He was part of Quirkies. He was amazing, dude. One of the best guys. Huge pillar. He had probably 30 quirks. Showed up every day. And when Blur started, he got so demoralized by the farming, the dumping, all the wash trading. He literally left the space.
Yep.
He left. He's like, dude, I love Quirkies. I still talk to him to this day. But he's like, I came here to collect. I don't have the mental capacity for this. I'm too busy. But I certainly don't want to see all my stuff get farmed to zero.
Yep.
And I'm like, I get it.
Well, I want to congratulate you, the former team, for making that move. I've been beating this drum for a while. I think not all, like, it's my personal opinion. I really don't want to see my ape migrated to a new contract. It's part of my Web3 journey. It was the first NFT I minted on mainnet, and that provenance means something to me. I know it doesn't mean something to everyone, and if your ape's been traded around 50 times and it was blur farmed, and you don't really, maybe it doesn't mean, and you bought it this week, maybe it doesn't matter that the only activity on the blockchain was you minting that asset and then sending it to your vault. Like that to me, it's meaningful. Like, I don't want to see that happen with apes. If they did it or gave a choice to their holders, I would understand, because royalties matter. Royalties are important. I think for most NFT collections, they should consider making a similar move, because they're leaving this is where I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, because there's a lot of teams that are really struggling to find a way to generate revenue. And most of them, the answer's right in front of them, and they're just not making the move. They're not even making an attempt to create more revenue. And I think people underestimate. And I've said it many times. I used Good Vibes as an example earlier. They minted in 2025. Their contract protects royalties. Others, like Quirkies, moved to an upgraded contract that allows them to do the same thing. I'm also guessing that this toggle probably weren't able to do this in the original. If you're not looking at the screen, I'm swapping between my Astro Quirky and my Astro QuirKid. I'm guessing this was part of the upgraded contract as well, or could have?
Yes.
So
it definitely was.
Part of the tech in these digital assets is you can program against it. You can do new stuff, and having an upgraded contract, it allows you to do more. Also, I just have to quickly get in there that my toy, the alien, I'm guessing, is the alien companion. Is that with all Astro Quirkies?
Yes, it is.
But I appreciate the attention to detail, the thought, the intent that went into this stuff. It definitely has not went unnoticed, at least for me. But back to the royalty conversation, I kid you not, I had this trap. It was I set it up without saying it. I said, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, because it is financial information, and I didn't know that this is how you paid for the art. It makes sense, but exactly where I was going to go next is, some people will probably be shocked to see that in the last week, Quirkies have generated almost $7,000 in royalties, $1,000 a day. That's not nothing. And oh, by the way, the only ones larger on this list, I don't even know what Qubit is, but then you've got Pudgy Penguins, you got Good Vibes Club, who I referenced earlier, you got Moonbirds, Rovers, and then Quirkies. So of all the millions of NFTs out there, the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands of NFTs, Quirkies has generated more revenue than all but 5 of them, ahead of even Flog, which is a new mint, ahead of Art Blocks, which had a big activation recently. And it's not that's just because they just released new art and there's a lot of activity in the last 24 hours. It's not the case either. If you look at the 30-day chart, Quirkies is actually number 5 on that. Flogs is number 1, who just minted, and they generate, again, just minted, new contract, generated $172,000 in royalties in the last month. I bet that shocked some people. I bet there's people here who had no idea there's an NFT collection that made, I'm going to repeat it, $172,000 in the last 30 days. I'm not good at math either, so I have to do the math on that, but that's about $2 million a year, if I'm correct. And now that amount, fresh collection, a lot of trading after mint and reveal, etc. Sure, maybe not sustainable. Good Vibes Club minted it earlier this year. They've generated $48,000 in the past month. Again, $50,000 in the past month. That's not nothing. That you can do a lot of things when you're generating $50K a month. It doesn't take new cost. There's no new cost of goods sold. There's no new labor that necessarily, yes, they're continuing to build, they're continuing to communicate with their community. but it's not like it's not like there's a real cost of goods sold to generate that revenue. Royalties are extremely high margin, and these teams can choose to put that back into their community. They can choose to drive value to their holder base if they want. Moonbirds, 54 grand. Quirkies in the last month, $27,000 of royalties, which to Poppy said, that's how they paid for the art, is they're generating royalties because of this new contract. Why more? Like, to put that in perspective, that's more royalties than Art Blocks, more than Nakamigos, more than Little Pudgies, more than Big Pudgies, more than Bored Apes. Why aren't more teams doing this, Poppy? I truly don't understand it. Like your community is going to push back. Well, you know what else they're pushing back on is declining floor price and no value accrual.
Yeah, they actually don't push back. This is the thing. We don't get pushback on the royalties, and if people like, the only pushback that I've gotten are people who actually are like flippers. Or there was one guy who's like, yo, I could be a market maker and trade stuff, and then he looked at everything and sent me a message about 5 minutes later and goes, oh, never mind, you guys have royalties on. And I said, well, that's okay, it doesn't matter, I don't really feel like we need a market maker. So it was okay. But here's the reality. I think since the acquisition, that number is north of $50,000-$60,000 in royalties, and every penny of it is allocated for. We have our budget, so we hired an animation studio, paid them a nice deposit, invested $15,000 just in the characters, just in the animals, to the puppets, to get them rigged up and ready to go. And we have most of our 2026 budget. We have a consistent budget committed to X amount per month, short animations, GIFs. We have most of that allocated already. We funded Art Basel pop-up, which was 5 figures. We funded this art, which was also 5 figures plus, the website, dev work, paying creatives, paying the team, and still have money sitting in there, which is amazing. And I think the community actually buys into it because we're transparent and vulnerable and not nervous about backdooring money or whatever. Like, there's nothing that we're hiding from that. And so I think that was the most important part, because if the community is selling, we this is actually pretty funny. We have people that get offered OTC deals and say, no, let's do it on chain, so they can pay the royalties. That happens in Quirkies a lot. There was like a couple weeks ago, there was like, I think there's been 400 or 500 Quirkies traded since September 1st. So we have volume. But it's not you can't go dump 50 of them. It ain't gonna happen. But like, we had all these rares trading, and most of those took place on chain, and people were like, hey, let's just do this way instead of OTC. And even the buyer was willing to pay a little bit more if that was the case. Like, a few times they decided, hey, instead of 0.8, let's do 0.85, and we'll split the the percent. When you do things the right way, people buy into it because it is ultimately a benefit. If we don't have money to build, we're not VC funded, we're Poppy funded, right? At the moment anyway. And I don't want to go sell this brand to VCs. I don't want to be forced to do a token that specifically relies on waiting for the cliff, because when the cliff comes, you have to sell. Your VCs want to sell, you have to sell. There's a lot of tokens that I invested in, and I don't do ICOs anymore. I don't even like SAFT agreements, right? Like an agreement for a future token. I don't like it because I hate the slow vest. Yeah, give me 200 tokens a month for the next 3 years. I'm like, when it hits, it's like $10. I'm like, oh my God, dude, what is this? I just don't want to do it anymore. And I definitely don't want to bring that to our holders. That's why when token work stuff started, I actually was excited, because to me, that solved that big mystery of do I at some point have to launch a token? Because yeah, we're going to be building. And when you're building and you have real sinks and real things that you're doing, a token can definitely make sense. But that pressure of like, do I have to launch a token? Who wants to build like that? When you're actually really trying to build something meaningful, it's just a distraction every day. And so Good Vibes Club came out, did their thing with the strategy token, and they enforce royalties. And I thought, we can take this at some point when we're ready. We weren't ready at the time. So I didn't jump on that opportunity right away, but I did open the dialogue. And I said we could take this opportunity and actually then tie like future real world revenue back to the street token when we're doing streetwear sales, when we're doing all this other stuff. So anyway, yeah, not to go too off target, but like I think that ultimately enforcing royalties has given us the solid foundation that we need to show up every day and actually, grow with the community.
Just my opinion. Again, I know others can disagree, and you're fair to have your opinions. Personally, I would much rather, like 10 out of 10, would rather see it 9 out of 10, because there's a few exceptions. Like if Node Foundation decides to port the CryptoPunks contract to a new contract. Sorry, I don't know what Duke's pumped about QuirKids. There'd be an uproar, right? Like it's 9 out of 10 though. I would much rather see an NFT native brand upgrade to a new contract, enforce royalties, as opposed to dropping a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth collection as a revenue generator.
I do think, Cap, in 2026, we will see it. I think we will see it from.
I don't know how we don't. I don't know how you. If you're an NFT founder and you see this, and you're like, man, what are we going to do to generate revenue? Like, seriously, it's an open book test now. The answer's right in front of you.
Yeah, like Chimpers does not have royalties on, and that's heartbreaking because honestly, they're one of the hardest working, most consistent teams, and they don't have royalties, and they have still done very well, and I don't know, I don't follow the treasury from their Chimpster token. I know they get 1% back, and I know that they've also reinvested a lot of that. So, like, they're relying on their drops, and they've done a good job. They do great open edition work. They've done the blind box plushies and some other things. But imagine if they were enforcing a 5% royalty, they'd be making 20 to 50 grand a month. Because they have a great project, great art, great holder base. And I expect them to do it for sure.
I listed a Moonbird Mythic the other day for above floor. It's like, if it flies, it flies. I'll rebuy a floor, just because it's one I'd like to support Spencer the Fencer, and my Mythic is like a grail, and I'm never going to do anything with the IP myself. So someone that's really deep in that ecosystem and loves the art, wants the grail, it's listed now. You can go buy it. I attempted to toggle on creator royalties, and it's grayed out. I attempted to pay royalties to Moonbirds, and I couldn't even do it. It wouldn't let me on OpenSea. Like it's grayed out. The creator royalties are off by default, and I couldn't even put it back on, even though I wanted to. How did we come so far from where we were? And people will say, "I'll blur it and kill NFTs." Not single-handedly, they didn't. But blur farming had a very negative effect, not just during the farming. I think it broke people. It broke teams. It broke communities. It killed momentum. Some people left the space because they see a blur farmer sweeps 200 NFTs in the collection. They know they're not holding them for long. They know it's only a matter of time before that ticking time bomb implodes and the floor goes crashing down. It's really hard to get confidence in buying into a collection when you see 10% of the collection is in supply of blur farmers who the only reason they're holding them is to farm points, and they're going to brick the floor sooner. Not only brick the floor, they're going to rapidly undercut the floor significantly. Like, it's just, for so many reasons, it had a net impact on the space beyond just the floor price during the blur farming. And I think just my speculation, I still think a lot of teams haven't recovered from that. And they think, oh, that's just the way it's been, is the way it has to be. And it's just not true. you guys are a great example of that. You upgraded to a contract years ago, and now you're making almost $1,000 a day in royalties. I bet if you go survey 100 NFT founders and showed them a path to $1,000 a day in revenue, they probably sign on the dotted line. They'd insta call you. I'm in. What do I do? Well, you need to hire a good dev. You need to upgrade to a new upgradable contract and build some good comms and PR. That's one thing we haven't hit on this morning. And so I've got two questions. One, I do need to give you credit for the communications. We harp on so often that teams here, founders, they haven't put an emphasis on bringing leaders. They haven't brought, whether the executive team, their C-suite, a seasoned professional that can communicate. Forget hiring PR agencies and PR firms. I get if you're not generating revenue, that's tough. Very few NFT native founders have a similar background as yourself. Like, I don't think you need to hire a comms person. You are the comms person. It's not just what you put on the timeline. It's the one-on-one conversations that you give. You invest in your community as good or better than any other founder that I've interacted with here. And there's a lot of great ones, a lot of awesome ones, a lot of them that if I DM them and ask them to come on the show, they'll come on the show. There's very few that I say, hey man, I need to talk to you. Can you carve out an hour of your day for me? It may not be today, it's the holidays, but I'm 99% certain if I said, Poppy, I need to pick your brain. I need to talk to you. Can I get an hour? You'd say, yeah, I can't today, but tomorrow. Or yeah, you might drop what you're doing and do it right then. Like, there's very few founders that are as accessible as you are. And it's not just reactive, it's often proactive. You reach out to me via DM more often than I reach out to you. That's meaningful. That's like, I'm never selling my Quirky. Like, I'll it's not a floor pricing. It's not this is, I'm biased because my bags. Unless there's some third party or something else, I don't have any expectation of monetarily gain off of a asset sale. Where I've already gained from being a part of this community is the relationships and supporting a builder that I think is moving the right way when so many are seemingly have given up or not even making an effort to do things differently. They're just stuck and they're using, there's no royalties. So now it's an excuse. And we're just an art project. We're just art on chain. That's all we're going to do. There's never going to be any utility. There's never going to be any value driven back to our hoarder base because there's no more royalties. Well, BS, stop making excuses. Upgrade your contract. There are royalties. You just are choosing not to go get them. Sorry, I'll end that.
Yeah.
And
No, bro. Thank you, man. I'm very humbled by that. And, I'm grateful, and I will extend it. I've actually extended this and had a conversation with one of my favorite people, great founder, literally one of the best. And I gave them my thoughts on it, and I think they're going to do it, and I think they should do it. And I will extend this. Like, we have a very, very good dev that is not over the top expensive, but he's super effective, fast, great communicator. I'm happy to make an intro to anybody who is even just curious. And most importantly, if you're building in this space, I don't need anything from you. Obviously, if you own a Quirky or something, that would be awesome. But like, I don't care. If you need help or you have a question, shoot me a DM. I try to get to all of them. If it's important, maybe we move it to Telegram or something, just so it doesn't get lost in the 7,000 group chats I feel guilty leaving for all the projects that I'm in. But and XDMs are not the best anymore. They need to fix that up. But listen, if we're going to be good in this space and we're going to be here, we have to create good experiences for people, because when people have bad experiences, a lot of the times they either pivot or leave. And every time somebody good leaves, that's somebody new that we have to go share this vision with and sell to replace them. And that's not good for the space. It's like, I used to work in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and it was dying, bro. And like, every single casino and everything was just dying. And it's like, if I ran a nightclub, and like, the times we weren't busy, if on those slow nights, if a couple people had bad experience, they don't come back. They probably tell their friends not to come back. And we're already losing. So you're just losing on top of losing. I try to build in a way that inspires. And look, sometimes you have to put people on their toes, right? You have to go out and change things up a little bit, which is why ultimately after that conversation with Dunked Cookie and talking to the advisors and stuff, we said, yeah, we're going to do the toggle. We could have probably minted these and we could have minted them for 0.02 ETH, maybe 0.03. We would have minted out. And we could have made significant money for sure. Maybe put $250,000 in the tank. And I'm very aware of that. But it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right activation. And I think that, you've got to pick and choose your battles in this space. And by doing it this way, I hope that some of the other builders feel confident. I know Chimpers is actually adding a second type of art, and they have a toggle. So we're not the first to toggle. D-Gods did toggle, a few other Feline Friends, a few other projects have done the toggle. But I believe we're the first to create like a whole second brand inside of the toggle. And honestly, the art is subjectively better in a lot of cases, and the attention to detail is really there. So yeah, Cap, I just wanted to say that. Extend the offer if you're a part of a team and you're thinking about it or you have some questions, of course. I always try to be there.
Art is subjective, and I don't mean any offense to the original artist. I think it's objectively better. Not only that, and I don't mean any offense by this. I like the vision for the IP previously. It was kind of fuzzy to me. I know you got streetwear and street like I know there's you're building around that IP, and my understanding is you're going to continue to do so. But in my brain, this immediately resonated with me, especially. And this is like I'm going to hand you when I hand you back the mic. I'm going to step away for just a few seconds. I need to do a mobile stream drop. I'll be right back. But I'd love you. I got to get you out of here too. We've kept you longer than I thought, but I would love you to expand on like what's next. What's the vision of Quirkies? What's the vision of QuirKids? How do they tie together? I heard you talking about some content on YouTube and socials last night, specifically for QuirKids. That really resonated with me. And to me, when I see the QuirKids IP, I was like, this reminds me of my childhood. This reminds me of Saturday morning cartoons. Like I see a real vision toward this becoming really meaningful IP far beyond the crypto sphere. It's not just going to happen by default. It's going to take a team that's got some revenue coming in this case by way of royalties right now, that allows you to put out more content, put out those videos. And to me, it's just like, again, I know art is subjective, but I think this is, in my brain, I see a very clear vision to this IP proliferating. And I'm not saying that the quirky IP wasn't unique. It was. This, though, when you talk about kid-friendly IP, I think it really stands out. It's cute, and we know the cute meta can work, but it is different. It reminds me of Saturday morning cartoon IP that I watched as a kid, and so maybe that's the nostalgic, it's the heartstrings you're pulling on. I'm not sure, but I do think you did a really, not just blowing smoke or glazing because you're here. I think you did a really good job creating new IP, new artwork that pulled from the OG traits. And yeah, I've seen the others that have toggles, and it's not the first time we've seen secondary or third art collections. This, again, my opinion, I think it's the best we've seen it done yet. And I hope other teams are listening. I hope other founders are paying attention to this entire conversation today, because you can drive value to your holder base. You can upgrade to a new contract. You can get royalties back. You just have to do the thing. So that said, do you mind sharing a little bit about the vision? Like what might we expect from QuirKids? What do you plan to do with the IP? Anything that you're comfortable sharing? And then how does that tie back into to Quirkies? And I'll be right. I'll be able to hear you. I'm just going to mute my video.
Yeah. No, I love it. And this is like the emotional part, I think, for me. Not like I'm going to cry here, but it is because a big inspiration for this is being a father. Being a present father. I was talking about this last night, but just being able to get my son to school in the morning some days. Like the Quirky office is pretty close to his school, so that was a strategic move. So I could take him most mornings, pick him up most days, spend that time in the car intentionally, watch the shows with him. And because I've been consuming content and watching and observing what he consumes. And, I have nieces, and we have our friends come over a lot with their kids. And so I've just been able to really observe for the last few years what that looks like. And, that was a big inspiration as we were building this brand and thinking about the vision and the action and the execution. Because to me, this is like, it's like a mint, right? The work actually begins when it's over, not, going into it. So I didn't overhype the going into it, because now it's like, all right, we're here to build. But there was a few strategic moves that we made, and it was funny. Nobody picked up on this, at least that I saw. None of the posts, none of the comments in the chat. But one of the first things that we did was we switched from left facing to right facing. And I don't know if he's on here, but Namin is a good friend, and he was busting my chops for like the last 2 years. Like, bro, if I'm not gonna buy a Quirky till you move them right facing. And he ended up buying one, right? Because he found one that he liked. But like, for a while he busted my chops. I'm not gonna do it till you move them right facing, because right facing is conversational, and all the posts in the timeline. Hold on. Sorry, people are blowing me up who should be on the space. So anyway, that was first thing. Second thing, the companions, we did not give IP rights to the companions because the companions are attached to the one-of-one quirklings, but we gave full IP rights on the QuirKids, the same way that you have the full IP rights on the Quirkies. And by the way, all of this stuff can be unpacked at QuirKids.com with 1K in the middle. So QuirKids in the middle. The K is in the middle, sorry, not 2Ks, 1K. We really tried to create a super intentional website with all the information, all the answers to the questions about the vision and the future. But there's several actionables and things that we're getting into. But what we felt was first and foremost important is to activate the community. We could either be on a stage and this is theater, or it's community. And I think a lot of people in this space have it completely wrong. They're on a stage because they think it's theater, but they're calling it community. That's not community. Community is when you actually sit in the chair next to your people. You buy and collect your art because you genuinely love it. You get on calls with leaders, people in your community. You build relationships. You know their names, their families. You get in Discord and have private conversations about business, and you do spaces a couple times a week and don't sit up in the ivory tower waiting for the bull market to launch something. We're not building a theater in Quirkies, building a brand. And to me, the greatest driver of this brand is the community. So gave them the IP and we're empowering them to go build with it. And all I've seen the last 24 hours is people building with it. People experimenting with Grok, ChatGPT, creating GIFs. I mean, damn, at this stage, I don't need a studio. The community is the studio. Now we're still gonna create our own native content, but you get the point. People are having fun. People are building with this IP already, and it's not gonna stop. The other thing that I thought was great, and I'll get to the actual roadmap for us, but I wanted to share that because we've activated the community. We've given them the tools and the weapons to go build. But I saw most of the people in the project change their PFP to their QuirKid. That says a lot because we had people that have never changed from their original Quirky since Mint move to their QuirKid, which means that the IP hits. Very important. But the vision is this. The same way that any real good IP would be proliferated is the philosophy and the way we're going to build. Web3 can be a distraction. To me, it's a weapon, right? A weapon that we can use, a tool in our favor, because we have people that love the brand. So we can try things. We can get feedback. I can throw up a poll and say, hey, should we drop plushies, vinyls, statues? I can get feedback from a community that may or may not buy, but cares about the brand. That's important. But what we need to go out and do now is execute. And so we've already hired the studio. We've been working for 2 or 3 months already. January, should be January, late January. We'll get onto this consistent grade of content. We're building out like 6 or 7 characters. So if you do think about, I mean, Cap, you hit it, bro. This is 90s nostalgia for me, bro. We grew up around the same time. The Nickelodeons, Rugrats. Ashley called it Rugrats, and I never thought about it as Rugrats, but I'm like, oh, this is the cool new Rugrats. I've always seen Quirkies as the cool new Rocket Power. If you know Rocket Power, go Google it. It's my favorite show growing up. And it reminds me of a lot of this old stuff that doesn't exist anymore. It only exists in the vaults. There's very little new. Bluey, people were comparing this to Bluey yesterday. I think Bluey's a good comparison. So the vision is tangibly, we're going to build socials, TikTok, Instagram. Quirkies will be in that conversation of the Web3 brands that are proliferating on social media in 2026, for sure. So GIFs, short animations, 8 to 15 second cute stuff. And the project that we look at the most is Improvers. They've done such a good job at that. Pudgy as well. YouTube learning content. This is a big one for me. I watch my son. He's obsessed with colors. Daddy colors, daddy colors, daddy colors. And it's just this video on YouTube of a guy just talking about colors and painting different things. And my son wants to watch it 3 times a day. When he's upset, he wants to watch it. It makes him happy. ABC, or the other one, ABCD. That's what he says. ABCD, daddy. ABCD. And he just wants to sing the alphabet. He loves it. A is for apple, B is for baby. So I am going to create ABC 1, 2, 3 colored, like some nursery rhyme stuff, Wheels on the Bus, Old MacDonald. And I know for some of you probably don't care, but if you have kids, you should care, because not all content they're consuming is actually productive, good. When we're raising our son, we don't want him to be an iPad baby, but he's very advanced for a 2-year-old, and that's because I read with him. My wife reads with him. My mom reads with him. He knows how to count to 20. He's 2 years old. He can count to 20 in Spanish. That's important for me, because if I die in a year, but I left this legacy behind, the next generation, because this generation, it is what it is. I can't fix 30-year-old people who made money in meme coins last cycle and are now depressed because they're not going to make money in meme coins next cycle. I can't fix that. But what I can try to do as a builder is make an impact on the next generation, which, as a God-fearing man, I believe is important. We're going to do coloring books. I have a couple out of Germany that I love. I've known them for 10 years. They already did one quirky coloring book. They're already working on the new one. But we're not just going to build them ourselves. We're actually going to work with our dev to create like an AI generator for coloring books that people can print out. And, maybe you'll have a huge gallery of content. So you could print these pages out. Your kids can color them. Jed can use them in a steakhouse. People can go to their local restaurants and bring these pages and say, hey, have your kids coloring QuirKids stuff. And we'll have the community doing that. GIF creators, sticker creators. And then eventually the goal is this, long form content. We have friends that come to this space that most of you probably don't even know work for Amazon or Disney or like some pretty big brands. They come here and hang out every day. Most people have no idea what they actually do or who they are. But I got, yesterday, it was very cool, Cap. Outside of the community, I had 4 friends that I really respect, Dunked Cookie being one of them, that all messaged me like really heartfelt things. And one of them is like an IP guy for 30 years, does some of the biggest comic book and IP stuff in the world. One of them works for a huge company that does production. Like, these messages were, hey, we need to talk in the new year. I love what you're doing. This is a major power move, that type of energy. And that's exciting for me, because I do want to create, it would be really cool. And I do want to create a TV show. I'm not promising that. That's not on the roadmap. Don't buy a Quirky thinking that there's going to be a TV show. but that is on the bucket list, right? It would be really cool to create stuff that we can bring and present to some of these bigger brands like Hulu or Disney or Amazon and say, look at this. This is unique. This is cute. This is fun. And there's real story behind it. And so we are creating tools for the community. I'll wrap there. And most importantly, we're going to take some ownership, and the royalties will help pay for this. So it's a full circle, great thing. Quirkies are still relevant. Very. We have Quirkies stuff in the other side, in some other video games. We've got a huge partnership that we signed last month around Thanksgiving. Haven't even talked about that yet. It's more of a partnership for our Quirk Life apparel brand, which we're super excited about. Our streetwear is great. Everybody's been getting it. Like this was the icing on the cake. Yesterday, QuirKids hit, but almost everybody's orders hit. Like 100 orders were delivered yesterday or the day before, and like everyone was satisfied or beyond satisfied with the quality of what they got on the QuirkLife.com, which is our streetwear brand. So anyway, that's what I got, Cap. I don't know if you have anything else, but thank you so much. Such amazing time, bro.
No, thank you for your time. Appreciate your leadership. We need more people in the space moving like yourself, and I appreciate it. It's refreshing. I've used that word a few times with recent guests, and it for for opening the day with crypto isn't cool anymore. I'm going to quote Monkey Zoo in the chat, who says exactly for who gets excited about proper secure custody solutions. I'll tell you who. The real world, like the space is maturing, and it's not just about a short term flip. It's for some of it's never been just about a short term flip. I get that's why a lot of people came here, and a lot of those people now they're finding it boring because there's not 100x every day, or the potential for one. That's okay. That's normal. It's a sign of a mature market, not one that's in a bubble. This stuff doesn't just happen by default, though. It does take leaders moving with intent, and I appreciate the voting in public, and continue to drive value back to your OG holders, your core community, your supporters. I'll say this: two things in closing. Well, actually, one thing on QuirKids and Quirkies, and then I'll hand it back to you if there's any call to action, any final thoughts, anything that you would. What should everyone do if this is their first time hearing about Quirkies and QuirKids? What should they do following here? What should they be paying attention to? I will say I'm a little older than yourself, so like my brain goes to Fraggle Rock, and I don't mean any offense to the artist.
I love Fraggle Rock.
You sound like a Fraggle Rock character, Machiavelli. This is better art. This is better art than Fraggle Rock, but it just like for whatever reason, that's where my brain goes when I think the QuirKids and even the Quirkies. So it's like no pressure on the TV show. I'll be looking forward to the animations, the shorts. I do think there is a massive need in the world for more good quality kids educational content, and to do that through cute IP, it just works. I also am not trying to make it PvP or the comparison, but someone asked like, what's the new direction? And I said this, a new division, not a pivot per se, but a new division. And I likened it to, it's like VFriends, but different, as far as like the doing good in the world and putting good out there, and perfect timing with the Quirky from the little one. But
he just came in my office and he's like trying to press my phone, but he's looking at everybody's PFPs. What is that, Juju? He loves it, dude. He's obsessed. So I said yesterday, sorry, Cap, if anything, I got the win because if nobody else likes what we did, my son loves it, and he just loves to sit on the website and toggle through the art and look at it with me. Right, buddy?
It's Mikey.
Too cute. Put him in the videos. In all seriousness, though, really love how you're moving. Congrats on the success. Congrats to the artist, and appreciate how you've got this new art out in the world. Excited to continue to support and follow along. That said, is there anything that you'd like to see everyone do? Is there anything, any call to action, anything like it leaving here? If someone wants to learn more, if they want to get involved, if they want to just pay attention from the sidelines, what's any takeaways you want to leave with everyone? Anything?
No, it's awesome. Today? It's such a great space today. I really lost track of time, nor did I care. It's like good, genuine conversation is always important. So thank you again, Cap. Always.
It's not lost on me that I thought once Steve departed, I thought we'd be doing we'd just moved like a 90-minute, maybe a 60-minute show. And I got Payne shaking his head in the background at me because I think every day this week we've ran like 2.5 hours. So appreciate you and hanging out longer than we intended. My apologies, Payne.
Listen, Payne, we love you. And there's pros and cons to Steve not being around as much, because Steve would have cracked the whip 30 minutes ago and said, we got to go. But we love you, Steve. We miss you. No, Cap, one of the things is, I think the major thing is this. Look, my DMs, and this is like suicide for most founders, but I actually enjoy it. The DMs are open. So if you have any questions, you're looking at buying a Quirky and you don't know where to start. Honestly, in Quirkies, you could always start at the floor because there's usually fire listed. I mean, there's great ones listed on the floor literally right now. So you don't have to, you could buy what you like in Quirkies because rarity is less important than aesthetic, and just buy something you like. But my DMs are open. If you have questions, I always try to onboard people and make it a good experience. Maybe throw you something like a Quirkling for free if you enjoy doing that type of stuff. So it's an open door policy here. We'll get you in the group chats and all that. But I think, QuirKids.com is a tool we made really intentionally because it should answer all the questions about the QuirKids brand. Obviously, you can follow us on socials, jump in the Discord. You can get in the main Discord chat and vibe with the community without owning a Quirky. So, and again, just open door. We're here. We're not going anywhere. Follow some quirks, check the vibes on the timeline, ask around. I think most people have had great experiences. So that's the call to action for now. And, check out our website too, the quirklife.com. Great streetwear and all that there too. So that's all. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you. Really appreciate you being here. I got a shot at the art again. The one-on-ones are legit fire. Like this is great kid-friendly IP. I'm not the art expert, but these are really well done. The honorary, I truly love it. It's really well done. And yes, it is subjective. I think it matters. And especially if you're looking to grow the IP and build the content around it, it does matter. And it resonates with me. It stands out. It's really, really well done. And how you've incorporated the trades with making it look completely new is I think it deserves more credit than the art will probably get in the space. But even more beyond that, I see Jed wants to come up. We can get you up here quickly. I do got to heart out because I've got one job today, and it's to go pick up the Pande Jamon. They close. It's a good drive away, and they close. I have to get there before close, or I'm in trouble. And I would greatly miss the Pande Jamon. It's become my new favorite holiday food of choice. But one other thing before I let Jed get in here, my quick call to action: if you've not yet done so, go claim that badge. It's linked up top. You can also just go to op.xyz, type in code CWC Holiday, all one word, CWC Holiday. It's open until December 31st. You may not want to wait until December 31st. There's no expectation with this, please. No one's going to get rich off claiming this badge. It's go claim some cool art. Go support Imlo, who quite literally volunteered his time to pull the art piece together. And go claim that holiday badge. It's from on the open page site with our friends over there. And more on that. We'll spend some more time talking about open page and stuff over the course of the next week. We will be here tomorrow, likely audio only day. I may decide to stream, but most likely tomorrow and Friday, probably just going to do the old school spaces. Definitely on Friday, because I got to go. My daughter's got a follow-up appointment, and it's a drive away, so I'll have to leave before into the video. So shorter show tomorrow. We will be live. I'd love everyone just to tune in, say hello. Or if your kids are up and you're unwrapping gifts and all that, please be with your family. It's not that deep. It's not that important. If you're not with family tomorrow, or the kids are still sleeping, or your plans aren't until the day, we'd love everyone to just drop in for a brief minute. We'd like to show some appreciation and may or may not have some goodies tomorrow, but definitely if you can take a few seconds, go. It's free to claim. You do have to connect your X account to OpenPage, but that's it. It's there's no. I don't even think yet. I'm pretty sure gas. Everything is sponsored. It's truly a completely free claim. Just code CWC Coffee. That said, before I get out of here, Jed, I saw you pop up. Any quick, like if we could do lightning round, like 60 seconds or less, any
Yeah,
comments?
I'll make it real quick. I'm just really like proud of the space in general. I think it is maturing. I was involved with this activation from day one, and I was worried. I was worried that people were gonna, you know, they're not getting any like technical value that they could sell like an NFT. It was never planned to be a mint. It might have been a drop, but thank God Poppy's smarter than me. But yeah, just seeing how receptive everybody was. I think like a year ago, like this shit like this would have got flooded, right? Because like, oh, I didn't get anything like monetary value out of this. So just seeing the reaction from everybody and how well it's been taken, it just makes me more bullish on the space, more bullish on the people here, really maturing, and this is the way we got to go, and trusting in good operators and good founders. Just a good day for NFTs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I'm just going to use the word refreshing again. It's not all just about number go up. This, if you're comparing it side by side of the collections, it's on a short list of ones that haven't bled out, and it's done really well relative to other major blue chip collections. That does. I know we're not here to talk about that, but it's refreshing that that's happening because people are collecting, and it's not about number go. I didn't hear one person say anything about number go up, or I wish you would have airdropped this to me so I could have sold it. Like, not one person in the core community yesterday was looking for a liquidity event out of this, and they were. Again, go back and listen to the space. Poppy, if you have that link, maybe pin it up top as we close out. If anyone wants to go listen to the recording from the town hall yesterday, you can get a little more in depth there and see and hear from the community, the core supporters who were big fans of this. And yeah, I know you want to assumingly grow and get interact and have more people join the community. But I think having that your core, your base, them being excited and supportive is the first step. And I think you absolutely nailed that. So. I hope everyone gets some quality time with friends, families tonight. Merry Christmas Eve to all those who celebrate. We will be back tomorrow. Brief show on Christmas for yes, and I did misspeak earlier. I said the wrong word. The code is CWC holiday, not CWC coffee. My apologies. op.xyz/claim and just type in code CWC holiday and you can claim that directly, or the direct link is also pinned up above. But thank you very much for that. Appreciate the shout out, Helpful Soul, and the legend Pain behind the scenes. Also got word that Abstract did bring back badges. I missed that, so we'll follow up on more on that. We'll maybe talk more about crypto being cool. If you're looking for some holiday content to consume and you've not yet seen Fraggle Rock, that'll be my recommendation for the day. It's not the greatest image. I didn't mean no offense by the. No offense intended to the artist. It is better IP. I did say that, but in the show probably doesn't hold up. I've literally not watched an episode of Fraggle Rock for maybe 40 years, definitely well over 30, 35 years. So it very well could be just straight up bad. So if it's just bad, don't just turn it off. But I don't know.
But Machiavelli sounded like a Fraggle. That was a good cap.
That's the best cap take of the day right there. Watch Fraggle Rock, and if it's not good, just turn it off and give me a pass. Fraggle Rock's pretty good, but it's been about 25, 30 years for me too, bro. So I'm with you on that.
They just came back out through Apple TV, and it's actually really, really good.
Am I even close that they
this
sound
past
like
few
you?
years, I caught the episodes, and they're great.
I'm even close that they sound like you, or am I completely off on that?
No, you're right, because some of them old characters, they do got that raspiness in them, and they got the dog, and you know what I mean? Like, there's all this different types of voices in there. So yeah, you're right.
Good stuff, guys. Well, really, really appreciate your time today, Poppy. Shout out to everyone out there. Shout out to Red Goat. Am I saying it right? I did pin her account up top.
Yeah, Molly, Red Goat Queen.
Red Goat
Yep.
Queen. Go give her a follow. Go give her some support. Really, really well done on the custom art on these, and that space to the town hall yesterday is also pinned up top. So go get your badges. Go give those accounts a follow, and we'll be back tomorrow. I hope everyone has a wonderful time with friends and family tonight. Join us if you can tomorrow. If not, no sweat. I know some of you take pride in being here, not just here every day, but being the first one in the chat. If you're with family and please focus on them, be present, and we'll be back on Friday. So, but for those who do have some downtime tomorrow morning, we'd love to hang out for a bit. We definitely won't keep you 2 hours and 45 minutes. I promise you that. Probably closer to an hour tomorrow, and I may have to force myself on that accountability. But all that being said, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for the time, Poppy. Thanks for being a leader and doing leader things and giving others a. Not that everyone has to look to copy paste exactly what you and Quirkies are doing, but showing them there's alternate ways to building a business in this space. You can do things like protect your royalties. Shout out to Dwayne in the chat who shouted out Unvault and what Aaron and the team over there are doing with Divot. I wasn't aware that this was something they were doing, but teams don't even, there's ways now that you can get your royalties without even having to hire a dev. They can plug into that system. We are going to have Aaron on. I don't know if it'll be next week, but it's here in the near future.
Yeah, Divot is actually pretty solid. That's correct. I forgot about that, but yeah, they're good people too.
So point being is crypto may be born for some. The builders haven't stopped. I think 26 might be the year of the builder. Dare I say? I'm not trying to jinx this, but I've thought for a long time this is an incredible place to build, and we've needed catalysts for more on-chain builders. And whether it's QuirKids or Rec Drinks or Pick a Crypto Pudgies or other side, Pick a Crypto native brand that has maybe multiple. Like that's best case scenario. Multiple have their breakout moments next year. I don't see that happening and it not attracting more builders. I know a lot of you are just looking for retail that you can dump your assets on their heads. Are there some things I would sell? Yeah, but I'm much more excited about more builders coming into the space and this being a place to build careers out of. And I do think, regardless of your background, your experience, your resume, I think you'd be hard pressed to find an industry where it's not about what you've done, but what you're willing to do and your ability to network. It is an incredible place to build a career, whether you're a creative, whether you're a marketer, whether you're a dev. There's a lot of incredible people here that are looking for incredible people to work with, and I do think we might have that moment coming up soon. I saw the Unvault account jumped up. I promise we will have you back on. We'll do a full deep dive here. If you've not followed Unvault, go give them a follow. We'll do a full proper special interview here in the near future. So go give that account a follow. I do got to get out of here though, otherwise I'm going to miss this Pandehimon and it will ruin the holidays. So if you've never had Pandehimon, I can't explain it. It's like if you don't understand Bitcoin by now, I can't explain it to you. You just don't get it. I don't have time. Same thing with the Pandehimon. It's a must. I got to go get it. And we'll be back tomorrow though. So come back tomorrow. Join us at 8. And like I said, audio only most likely. And then we'll be back. Same thing on Friday. Thanks Thanks so much for y'all being here. And as Steve would say, hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.